Book TV is something that the Most High had, I guess he dropped in my spirit a couple of years ago, and it started as my hashtag. It was me dealing with Christians, like, dealing with Christians. I started teaching, and these Christians would just keep coming up with all this commentary. I was like, listen, man, just give me book, man. Don't give me all your, well, you got to see here and you got to understand this. No, read it to me. So I came up with a hashtag, just give me book. And now I see that all praises, the Father is working. We're getting people wanting to come teach and people coming out of Christianity, and that's beautiful. I'm not knocking the awakening, but I see Israelites as well adding to the book. I see Israelite teachers taking from the book. There's one community I reached out to and waiting for the brother responds to me, or the next time he goes live, I told him I'd come on. And if I can help, I can help. I'm not here to tear people up. I'm not here to embarrass people. I'm not here to cut people's heads off. But the brother, it seems like he's really sincere in getting to the truth. And he's a Christian, but he's interviewing Israelites, not trying to defeat us. To me, I've been checking his channel out to see if he's sincere or not. And from what I can gather, this brother sincerely wants the truth. So Just Give Me Book is a vehicle for us, not to say we're right, but another avenue for people to see, hey, check this out and verify for yourself. Because I'm seeing teachers, Israelite teachers, saying stuff, and what these brothers do, and this is what I'm so scared of, family. These brothers grow their platforms, and then once they get to a certain level, now you don't want the trust of the people, and now you feel you can say anything because I got the trust of the people, and that's not what this is about. You got to verify everything all the time. That's why I tell y'all, just because y'all come here and get a good meal last Saturday, don't mean you just can come relax. We know we ain't got to check. No, I'm a man in this earth suit subject to error. So y'all got to be Bereans, fact check everybody, because I'm seeing these brothers get puffed up with pride. Oh, we don't need to talk about that and this. No, we're not moving like that, fam. We're going to verify everybody. So Just Give Me Book TV is an avenue trying to show people we don't have the liberty. You don't, if you call yourself standing up for Messiah, standing up for Christ, whatever you want to call him, if you call yourself working for Yah, you don't have the luxury of teaching what you want to teach. And let me get this on the screen, because this is going to be our foundation when we start our work. I'm looking for. This is not our book. This is not, when I say our book, I mean these are not our words. This is our book for our heritage. But this is not our words where we could just start changing stuff and oh yeah, this is done away with now, and you don't have to do this now. So when someone starts telling you things, you have to ask them to give you witnesses. And again, the Most High dropped in my spirit the plumb line. He was like, listen, this is dummy proof. I gave you the plumb line. So let me get this on the screen for the people. The Most High's way of life is dummy proof. And he wrote it right in our text, how we are to move.
Quick question, Morah.
Go ahead.
We've always been wondering, what exactly, what's the origin of plumb line? Why do you say that?
It came to me from Revelations when he told the angel to measure the temple. He said, John said, I saw in his hand a plumb line. So a plumb line is an old-fashioned measuring tool, if that makes sense.
They typically use it in masonry or construction or carpentry. They hang from the string and they let it swing until it stops, let it know if it's level or not. Now, of course, they have actual levels.
Right.
But that was how they found to make sure something was level. Straight, making a straight line or not.
Did you catch that, Gerald?
Recorded. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, so that I got it from Revelations, and that's the image at the top there. That's an old-fashioned plumb line. And because it came to me, a brother asked me one time, we did a class, and I did a class on false doctrine. And the brother reached out to me in love. It wasn't an argument, wasn't contention, but he was like, how do you know you're not teaching false doctrine? And I was like, wow, that's a good question. And at the time of me and him talking, I said, well, we got to verify everything through the book. And then at the end of the conversation that night, I went to bed. I was like, that's a good question. How do we know if we're teaching false doctrine or not? And the Most High started the next morning, he gave me these scriptures. So whether you're building a class or you're listening to a teacher, that teacher should be able to pass the Most High's plumb line. And it's right there inside of our scriptures the whole time. Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 15 says, let everything be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. Now, I was talking about condemning a man and condemning a man to death or putting a conviction on him. But that goes for everything. If you're saying this is valid, the cross is, the law is nailed to the cross. There's no more fringes. You ain't gotta wear fringes no more. You should be able to give me 2 or 3 witnesses, not you. And I hate using their terms for our way of life, but these people are seminary educated. So they exegete and eisegete. Exegete and eisegete are Greek tools. When you apply Greek tools to a holy way of life, you're in error. So we don't exegete, I don't eisegete, I don't apply hermeneutics to anything. If you look up the root of hermeneutics, it's from a pagan god, a black god called Hermes, H-E-R-E-M-E-S. So when you apply hermeneutics, and I feel my rawat coming up, but let's let it flow. When you apply hermeneutics to a holy text, you just went to a pagan god and asked him to give you understanding. Because Hermes is their god of smooth speech and writing. So if you was about to write your boo a love letter, you would sacrifice or pray to Hermes to give you the words to woo your baby back. If you was about to go on a political campaign, you would sacrifice to Hermes to give you a good speech. So when they say you got to check the hermeneutics, no, brother, I'm an Israelite. I don't apply no foreign pagan god to my holy text.
Oh, great.
We are to put precept upon precept. That's what we are to do. So the plumb line starts with 2 or 3 witnesses. That's in Deuteronomy 19 and 15.
I'll read it.
Go ahead, Al.
Deuteronomy chapter 19, verse 15, Septuagint. 1 witness shall not stand to be a witness against a person as regards to any injustice and as regards to any offense and according to any sin that may have sinned. On the mouth of 2 witnesses and upon the mouth of 3 witnesses, any word shall stand.
So when you tell me that fringes are no longer needed, well, I can show you what's commanded. So if you're not doing something that's commanded, it's a sin. For you to tell someone that fringes are no longer needed, and I'm talking to Israelite teachers. Israelite teachers saying, you got to understand the fringe is no longer needed. Well, brother, take me to 2 or 3 witnesses where, okay, God says you no longer have to do this. Not you exegeting. Well, see, when Christ got up, miss me with all that performing. Show me in the book where the Most High says, now that my son has resurrected, I don't need this from you. If you can't give me 2 witnesses where Yah says you no longer have to do this, then you are in sin and you're causing his people to sin. You can't give me 2 witnesses that says, you know what? I don't need the fringe no more. You're teaching false doctrine. You may mean well, you may have good intentions, you may be polite with it. Just because someone is polite and civil and well, Bernie Madoff wore the best suits. He was the biggest crook this world's seen. So just because you're calm-mannered and you're very polite and respectable, I'm not being respectable and polite when you're pushing death on my people. This is not a game, this is my nation. So when you're telling people, oh yeah, the fringes, these brothers wearing fringes is no longer needed, show it to me in the book. Show it to me in the book. The second step to the plumb line, we go to Acts chapter 21, verse 21. You got that up? Acts 21, verse 21. This is New Testament. This is how we are to verify something. Acts 21, verse 21. It's the second step.
Acts 21:21.
Come.
And they are informed of thee that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Mashah, saying that they ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after their customs.
So that's another barometer. They told Paul, hey, wait a minute, Paul, we're glad you ain't killing us no more, but now we're getting reports that you're telling people to forsake the Moses law, well, the Mosaic law. We know it's not the Mosaic law, it's the law of Yah. So if you're teaching something against Moses, you are in error. In our culture, in our nation, I can get you killed. All I need is another witness. Yashiyah, did you hear him say that he ain't gonna wear fringes? That's against Moses, because Moses got it from Father and Moses gave it to us. So two people hear you say that you no longer have to wear fringes and you're gonna have your day in court. Tell me why you're telling people that you don't have to wear fringes. Produce your witnesses. If you can't produce your witnesses, you got two options: repent and get in order, or you get stoned. That's the nation we come from. You just can't make up what you want to make up because you got a suit on, because you got a seminary degree. Or my church, I done baptized 5,000. I got the biggest Hebrew congregation in the world. That don't matter to me. Show it to me in the book. Show it to me in the book. The next step is Acts 17:11. Acts 17:11. I try to stay calm, but this is not a game, family.
And also too, even if you falsely accuse somebody, then the act that like maybe putting somebody to death or whatever can be reversed on the person that's falsely accused as well. And that's right here in the same thing in Deuteronomy. And just in case somebody don't know what you're saying, and they saying he said they could kill people, just in case, let me just read it.
It's in the book. They're not reading, they're just repeating what their teachers say, and now you're running with false doctrine.
So after he mentions that you need 2 or 3 witnesses, he says, but if an unjust witness is set against a person, accusing him of impiety, and the 2 people who are the ones in contradiction shall discern before Yahweh and before the priests and the judges who may be in those days. This is Deuteronomy 19:16, 17, 18, and so on. 18, and the judges shall examine diligently and look, an unjust witness unjustly, he stood against his brother. You shall also do to him the way he acted wickedly to do against his brother, and you shall remove the evil one from yourselves. So the remove the evil one from yourselves is what you was just talking about.
If you bear false witness, you done trumped up charges on me, and you got someone else to bear witness with you, you perjured yourself. That's where they get perjury from. Their court system is based on our way of life. So y'all lied on me, and the punishment I was going to suffer is stoning or 50 shekels or 40 lashes. Whatever charge that you brought against me, if I was found guilty, that penalty that I was about to pay, now you and the false witness got to pay. That's what the text is saying.
And that's where the saying comes. It says,
get your mic out.
It says, your eye shall not be sparing on him. Life for a life, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for a foot. And the King James pretty much says the same thing. And thine eye shall not pity that unjust person.
They missed, this book is a Hebrewism, family. So people say, well, are y'all plucking eyes out? Are y'all knocking teeth out? That's not what the law is saying. The law is saying you have to have justice, equality. So you was going to get me 40 lashes with your lies. Now I proved you was lying. Lay down and take these 40 lashes. Or I was going to have a fine of 50 shekels. Now you got to pay a fine of 50 shekels. That's what eye for eye mean. Not we plucking out each other's eyes. But you don't understand the text, because the text ain't for you, Dr. Seminary. Yashiyah, you got something?
Proverbs 11:1, a false balance is an abomination to Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. You know what I'm saying? Like bringing that balance, that equals it to, you know what I'm saying?
So if you can't produce witnesses to prove that fringes is no longer needed, the feast days are no longer needed, if you can't produce witnesses, that's a false balance. What did it say, if you have a false balance?
It's an abomination.
You are abomination. If you're telling people something that you can't prove with witnesses, you are abomination to Father Yah. Hallelujah. So 2 or 3 witnesses, did Moses teach it? Now can you where did we stop at? Acts 17:11? Acts 17:11. Did we read that one? Acts 17:11. The next step.
Acts 17:11. These were more noble than those in Thessalonica, and that they received the word with all readiness of mind, and searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so.
They searched the scriptures daily. That's where we get Berean from. These are Israelites living in a Greek city called Berea. They didn't reject Paul and try to kill Paul. They says, Paul, man, I don't know about this. We're going to search the scriptures. What scriptures did they search? They searched the Tanakh, the Old Testament. So the next step of the plumb line, can you find what you're saying in the Tanakh? Did the prophet say it? Did the Messiah say it? If we don't find what you're saying inside the scriptures, inside the Tanakh, what you're saying is a false witness. And the last step of the plumb line is 2 Peter, 2 Kapah, chapter 1, verse 20. 2 Kapah, chapter 1, verse 20 through 21. Read.
It says, knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation, for the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men or set apart men of the Most High spake as they were moved by the Ruach HaKodesh.
Wait a minute, something ain't right. We got to check your text. Can you read that again?
Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation.
You can't get your own interpretation. I've been fasting and meditating, and God gave me this word. God said that this Purim is pagan. Oh yeah. God told you Purim is pagan, but God told us to cast lots to argue, to settle disputes. That's a Christian motive, family. That's a Christian MO. Soon I said God told me in Christianity, I gotta listen to you now. Because if I don't listen to you, I'm going against God. We don't operate like that. If God gave you a word, we should get confirmation by somebody else. So if I can't find it in prophecy and you can't give me a confirmation, I got to check your word. Finish that out.
For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man.
Oh, wait a minute. Somebody check it. The prophecy came not in the New Testament.
For the prophecy came not in the old time by the will of man.
Christianity is based on all the letters of the so-called New Testament. That's why I'm anxious to build with these brothers, not to embarrass them, to help them. You're following a faith system based on so-called New Testament letters, but this brother is saying, Kapah is saying the prophecies came of old time. You have to go back to what's written in the old time, because those prophecies came not by man, it came by the Ruach of the Most High. So if your doctrine, if your sermon is not lining up with prophecy, you got to get it out of here. You got to get it out of here. So that's the plumb line, family. That's how you vet me and anybody else out there. You don't have to wonder, and man, that sounded good. Just because I'm up here sweating and talking loud, that don't mean nothing. The clan talk loud. They start sweating. But that's Christianity. Soon I say it with authority, and he rose up and he nailed it to the cross, and that's all I need. All I need is Jesus. Don't you want Jesus? What obvious answer? Yes, I want Jesus. Well, if you want Jesus, you gotta forsake that law. Show it to me. Show it to me. Show it to me. Somebody got their hand raised up.
Just laying back off what Maria and Josh had brought out. If you look at our current situation, there is no justice. You will have a false accused bring something on you,
and nothing don't happen to them.
You might even go to jail sometime, serve this time. They bring out the facts.
Boy, you really
they'll address some time. They'll say there's a law of statuation. If it's past this time, you can't be convicted of it. Or they'll just come out and say, well, we have new evidence. We have DNA sometimes, and it points to this. Nothing happens to those people, but they'll tell you, you better not lie to the government. You better not lie to Congress. Well, Congress is brought for false accusations on them. Why aren't you? You say this is justice. Where's the justice in that?
So our brothers who did 35 joints for rape and come out now, they ain't touched this little girl. What your accusers? You ain't gonna do 10 days?
They gotta do their 35. Man,
That's justice in our community.
You really. That's a big point right there. That's why this nation can't stand.
This nation is not built on justice.
It cannot stand. I mean, even the fact of if somebody even just accuse you in the public, a whole sect of people gonna think you guilty regardless, even if no charges is brought against you. Just
Dr. Bill Cosby.
Yeah, like any like I mean, he did such and such and such and such. Half the people gonna believe it, half the people won't believe it, but you still gonna, and nothing happens to that person that has said that thing about you. You see it with athletes all the time. You know what I'm saying? Some woman come out and say something happened when it was totally made up, but then that stain is left on that person forever, and there's no repercussion. Because if anything, the man will end up, and it's not, I'm just using this as an example, but the man will end up just saying, all right, Silver Suit will just pay you just to go away and be quiet. But that is even no justice either. So this whole system, everything from top to bottom that they've done to us as a people, all the way down to the things that we do to ourselves, it's been no justice the whole time. And the point of the eye for an eye that text is saying is so that nobody else won't do that the next time. You're supposed to scare the other people or smarten them up, wisen them up, like, hey, don't be coming around here saying anything, because you see what happened to John back there. That's the same thing that's going to happen to you. So we don't even, man, this is way off. It's way off.
So all these teachers, and Reg, I see your hand, all these teachers, Israelites and Christians who are teaching these doctrines, you may be doing it out of ignorance. And if you're doing it out of ignorance, we got sacrifices for that. That's what Yeshua shed his blood for. You're doing it out of ignorance, just repent, or at least have enough humility to present the evidence. I'm listening to these cemetery students. They sound so good, and they think they be killing. I'm watching this one brother, he swear he's killing it. I'm like, bro, what you saying don't make sense because you haven't looked at the scriptures from the original Hebraic context. So, Reg, you had something, Reg?
Yeah, it's online what you've been saying about how people teach, or even those who listen. You know, my pastor this, my pastor that, or wherever it's coming from. Going back to that Acts 17:11, which is one of the end-all be-all scriptures of even waking up. See, these things are so, right? But I always extract something from that. I always extract Paul in this sense. You don't see it written here where Paul said, well, don't you know who I am? Don't you know who sent me? No, you don't see anything where Paul was like, no, you got to listen. No, he let them go and figure out if what he was saying was so. You know, he didn't try to hold on and try to get all braggadocious, or anybody that was around him wasn't saying like, oh, listen to him. He got it right. That's who I'm following. No, go ahead. See if these things are so. Examine the scriptures, please.
That's a great point. You shouldn't be scared. And you got some Israelites growing their platform, and they so cocky now. If you question one of their classes, oh, you a devil. That's childish. Or they don't have understanding. No, I got understanding. This makes different because you got some kind of letters behind your name, and your last video got 15,000 views. Now someone can't question you. Listen, I don't have an alliance with nobody. I don't care if you're an Israelite who speak all the Hebrew, all the dialects. I have an alliance with the Most High Yah and His Son. If what you saying is not in the text, it's not in the text.
And then it also goes to who you've been learning from. are you testing my authority right now? It's like, nah, I just literally got questions and something's not lining up. But, you know what I'm saying? It goes into like a deep issue of you have pride in your heart, bruh. And the sad thing about it is you don't even see the pride in your heart.
I said it at 7 Day Harvest Truth Revealed. The apostles questioned Hamashiach. They questioned Hamashiach, and they questioned him again after he resurrected, and he showed his hand. They said, hey, are you going to restore now the kingdom to Israel? So if they can question him, who are you? Because you got a great platform, and I've been preaching. Listen, bro, I'm trying to keep this civil. They don't want the old man to come out of me because this is not a game to me. You're trying to destroy my nation or stop someone from my nation coming back to their inheritance. I'll pull up on you. This is not no virtual contest. I'm not debating you. My life on the line. You want to have a debate? Don't email me about no debate. My little brother's on the line. I'll pull up on you. That's how I'm built. That's how I'm built. So, anybody else had anything else before we move on? This is not a game. I'm not in this for YouTube likes, Facebook likes. I don't care. I hope we stay small because we need people we trust. We need Gideon soldiers. I don't need nobody. Oh, yeah. No. Are you in this for the nation or not? That's what we need.
Yeah. Go ahead, Gerald.
No, I was just thinking, kind of side note, but it ties into what we're saying. I was thinking, like, from my understanding, Hamashiach gave John from his father through an angel the revelations and the prophecies for our time. We, in turn, are supposed to use God's word and direct people back to the Tanakh, to the prophets of old, and all of the things that Christ fulfilled. But ironically, it's like all of these pagan religions, they all have like a modern prophet of some sort that they look to listen to direct them and guide them, instead of listening to the actual ones that was documented and we know without doubt that was inspired of God. Nowhere in Revelations or the scriptures does I see where it says there's going to be somebody coming in the future. Listen to them, you know. So the moment you see the guidance of God, the moment you see somebody starting to like, well, God told me, and this is God gave me this prophecy, and it speaks of false prophets in the last days, but I don't never see where it says, and maybe y'all can help me if I'm missing it. Like, so it's just ironic how somebody that claimed to be a believer, so-called Christian, will condemn you for trying to take them back to the prophets or take them back to what we know was inspired of God. It just don't make sense.
I'm in complete agreement all day long. Second Kapah 1:20 says the prophecies of old. He said of old, not nothing new. And then Hamashiach is the fulfillment of prophecy. But when you process these words through a Greco-Roman education, he's the fulfillment of prophecy. We got a bunch of prophecy that's not happened yet. So he fulfilled some of the prophecies. We got a whole bunch more that we're waiting for Babylon to fall. Has that been fulfilled? He said, I'm going to restore Israel. But you get these seminary teachers, he fulfilled it. Let's move on. Great point, Al. So today we're previewing Just Give Me Book TV. Just Give Me Book TV is a platform, is a tool that we invite everyone to be Bereans, and we have to teach them how to process the scriptures from a Hebraic lens. Because I hear the seminary preachers say, well, see, that's why it's necessary to study the Greek, because the apostles wrote in Greek, and that's a lie. Most of the apostles wrote their letters in Hebrew. It was translated into Greek, and some of them went back, or some of the Nazarites went back and translated them back into Hebrew. But it won't tell you that. But even if we concede and says, know what, we ain't gonna split hairs. The apostles wrote their letters in Greek. even if they wrote their letters in Greek, it's still based on Hebraic prophecy. It's still based on prophecy of old. So if you don't understand the Hebrew, you're going to miss all the letters of the New Testament. I got something printed out for y'all. Each one of y'all, y'all remind me. I got a printout. Those online, y'all can do it for yourselves. If you Google Old Testament prophecy in the Bible, I got printouts to show you that the apostles quoted the Old Testament so many times. So they wasn't saying nothing new. They wasn't saying nothing new. So if you don't go back and learn our language, which is our culture, our customs, you're not going to understand those so-called letters of the New Testament. So how many been around long enough, those online to help us out, how many been around long enough to hear that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of? How many been around long enough to hear that?
Oh, yeah.
The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And I'm like, Reg, you got something, Reg?
No, I was just raising my hand in agreement because I've been around long enough.
No, go ahead and unmute yourself. Go ahead and mute yourself and speak, brother. But Shamaria is man, he's online too. So if you've been around, you heard these brothers out there all cocky. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And it sounds so good. You trying to wake people up and trying to instill pride in the people. Yes, I want to instill pride in us, but not at the expense I'm teaching lies. So let's find out if this white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Because that's what they all talking about. The Bible speaks of, right? Let's go into the text. Let's go into Yashayah or Isaiah chapter 14. Because again, fam, I have no alliance with anybody. I don't care if you've been teaching. I don't care if you got spiked belts on. I don't care if you got all kind of organized uniforms. If it ain't in the Bible, we're not dealing with it. Isaiah 14, and we're going to pick it up at verse 4. Shamaria, you good?
All right, Isaiah 14.
Isaiah 14, verse 4, and we're going to run it down to 16. Those online, I hope you got your swords to follow along.
That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how have the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. So remember, family, when we study to get understanding, we don't need no Greek tools of exegesis and eisegesis and eschatology. Miss me with all that mess. My fathers, my ancestors didn't deal with that. We don't need no hermeneutics. You got to look at the hermeneutical aspect. I don't need none of that. What you need to do is write down the 5 W's and the H. Write down the who, what, when, where, and why, and sometimes the how to understand what's going on. So Isaiah chapter 14, verse 4, who is this verse talking about, family? Israel, restoration.
Not exactly. Anybody got something that's different? Read it. It's talking. This verse is talking about the king of Babylon.
I thought you was talking about the whole.
Oh, the chapter.
Yeah.
The chapter. Yeah, the chapter is to the restoration. But the verse, right? Read it again. 14, verse 4.
That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. That's the who, and say, how have the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. Everything we're about to read after this verse is pertaining to the king of Babylon. That's how we get proper understanding. You have to slow down, take that music off. Just because you up there with shades on and big burly men don't mean you right. That's right. Miss me with that. The white man is not the devil that the Bible speaks of, and we're about to shatter that to bits. I don't care who you are. Email me, inbox me, pull up. The white man is not the devil that the Bible speaks of. You're giving somebody too much credit. Let's read on. Yahweh have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. Okay, read on. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. So it's bragging about, or the Most High is saying how great this king of Babylon has become. This king of Babylon is so great, now the trees are bragging like, wow, no one has come to chop down this great tree. But this is all a Hebrewism. It's all a metaphor about the king of Babylon.
Now we're about to show you who this king of Babylon really is. Read on.
Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth.
Hell is shaking. Hell is getting ready to receive you and all the chief ones of the earth. Now, city will say, who's controlling the earth? Ain't the white man controlling the earth? Ain't the white man controlling the earth? You can't do, miss me with all that. Calm down with all that screaming. You talk about people, y'all get emotional. You get emotional with your bunch of lies. You get emotional. You get emotional. Calm down with all this false doctrine. The white man ain't no devil. Let's read on.
It have raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations, all they that speak and say unto thee, art thou become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us?
What happened to you, you great king of Babylon? Wow, I thought no one could take you out, but now look at you. Y'all remember New Jack City? Oh, Pookie, look at you now. That's what the Most High is saying now. Look at you now, you king of Babylon. Let's read on and find out who this king is.
Thy pomp is brought down to the grave.
All your arrogancy, your pride, now you're in the grave.
And the noise of thy viols, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
Who?
O Lucifer.
Who is this king of Babylon?
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?
These brothers missed it because they're in their flesh. You could teach a monkey to read, family. You could teach a monkey to turn your TV on. And I'm not trying to be mean. I love the brotherhood, but I'm not riding with false doctrine. I've been quiet too long, letting these brothers grow these big platforms, and now you're beguiling more innocent people with your false doctrine. I see more and more young brothers, 20s and 25s, just repeating, just regurgitating this garbage. The king of Babylon is not a white man. The king of Babylon is a Hebrewism. It's a metaphor for Lucifer. The king of Babylon, Babel means what, family?
Confusion.
Confusion. Who started confusion in the garden? Hashatan started this mess. So now when you get to Isaiah 14, it's the king of Babylon is Lucifer. He's the king of Babylon. He's the one Nimrod started, build this tower to. And if you go back and pick it up in Jubilees, it says the fallen angels taught the sons of Canaan all kind of magic and sorcery. So the fallen angels are the sons of Lucifer. They are the angels of Lucifer. So this king of Babylon here is Lucifer. Lucifer is not the white man. How can a white man be Lucifer? It says, how art thou fallen from where? Heaven. When has the white man ever been to heaven? Because Hamashiach says, no man has ascended to the Father except me. So you up there with your old production, your digital life, you got a whole council of big burly men. The white man is the devil the Bible speaks of. This proves you a liar. The white man ain't the devil. The devil is not the white man. Let's finish this up.
Nariah, he has some.
Nariah, you got some sick of this mess. I try to stay calm and civil, but they're making the lion come out. They're making the lion come out. Go ahead, Nariah.
I was just watching a video. I was on social media and I was just scrolling, and I was just telling my little cousin, I was having a conversation with him, telling him to be wary of these camps because some of them go around demonizing white people, saying that they are the devil. Literally what you're bringing out right now. And when I was scrolling, they brought out this precept and they were saying, see who is Lucifer? Describe Lucifer. Don't everything that you're saying, but they went as far as to say that that Lucifer is the white man. So when I was talking,
like tassels.
Exactly, and I was talking to my cousin. I said, okay, if that's the case, realistically speaking, if everybody had melanin back in ancient times, and we still don't even realistically know where white people come from, and that's a whole other conversation. But if everybody was melanated back then, but Hasatan was still around, now where's your argument? So I said the whole point of me saying it that way is because they don't understand the spiritual warfare. They just speaking out of the hatred in their carnal, in their flesh. Because You know, just what you're saying. Talking to the king of Tyre at one moment, and then next thing you know, he switches to how you fallen, O Lucifer, son of the morning, calling out the rawat behind that the person is operating in. And you know, everything that you're saying right now is just, it's for somebody. But I just wanted to comment on that, because it's just getting out of control how people are buying into it too. So this is a very on time topic that you're bringing out right now.
Call your dollar Yahweh. Bill, you got something up?
Shalom. I remember a teaching that the brother Kazwan did.
Don't mention names. Let's not mention names.
Okay. Okay. Well, I remember a teaching I heard, and it was explained that Lucifer was a title. You know, and brothers, they mix up when the Most High gives someone a title, as far as them that actually being that person. You know, it was Lucifer was like a person of thinking of themselves highly, or thinking of themselves higher than the Most High. So he called a few people. Most High called a few people Lucifer. That mean that they were in the garden? No. How can you be in the garden at one moment and then be way down the timeline in a different person when they had left Earth already? But it's because it's a title, not a person.
And again, that's right on time, because if Lucifer is a title, give me 2 witnesses that says Lucifer is a title. Show me somewhere in our text by any righteous Israelite that says that name Lucifer is a title. If you can't show me that the name Lucifer is a title, then you're teaching false doctrine. Because according to the text, Lucifer, let's finish this out, Op. Thank you for that, Op. Let's finish this out. And Gerald, I see your hand. Isaiah 14, where we at?
And then 2, we gotta, you know, that Lucifer is English or Latin or whatever. It's halal.
Oh, I'm saving that for the big joker. I'm
well,
saving that for the big joker.
I'll wait then.
Well, not for here. I'm saving that when I fellowship with these Christians. The big joker is you don't know our language. You're opening up this book and you're thinking these books are the original scrolls of our fathers. You open up the Old Testament, so-called new, and you're quoting Paul so cocky and arrogant, not knowing that these letters have been butchered 15, 25,000 times. That's the big joker that they don't understand. But I'm gonna be fair with them and give them time to research, because I ain't trying to embarrass nobody and ambush them. But what you just said, they don't know. None of our ancestors know about Lucifer. What is it in the Hebrew?
Halal.
Halal. Now, he gonna give you the breakdown of what halal means. The other word or the title they put on him is devil. Devil is Latin or Greek. We called him the adversary. That's what shaitan means in the Hebrew. Shaitan means the adversary. So yes, we have had many adversaries, but again, just like, let me calm down, y'all. When we come back into the culture, you understand. So we've had many messiahs. Whoever brought you into the truth, he was a messiah to you. But God forbid he's not HaMashiach.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, you know how I am. Like you preach or teach that, you know, don't just go off what somebody is saying. So I wanted to say that nation that has come against us has been a devil, but that word just means an enemy or an adversary. So right. they have been an enemy to us, appointed by the Most High to be an enemy or a satan to us. But still, it's still your point is still correct that they're not
the one
satan. They're not halal, the shining one, the morning star that fell from heaven.
Come on, that's what we're bringing out. When you get so cocky and arrogant, you got a bunch of shades on, a bunch of brothers up there with all kind of costumes on, bring it out. White man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. No, the white man is not the devil that the Bible speaks of. The white man is a man. He descends from the loins of a man.
It's just like Nebuchadnezzar, you know, and so on and so forth.
the point we're bringing home, family, let me calm down, because I hope they see this video. Pull up, email me, come by. The devil of this Bible is a fallen angel. It's a fallen angel. No man, if you was born of a woman, no man, whether your skin be white, black, brown, red, green, in between, no man has ascended or descended from the Shemayim except our king. So for you to get all this pump up and telling people you got all kind of white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, this one precept just say you are a liar. You, your camp, your daddy's camp, your mama's camp, your grandmama's camp, whoever's saying this, y'all are liars. The text don't agree with you. The text don't agree with you. Let's finish this up, Bob.
Benham, I guess you had to finish your point, and then Gerald. Benham.
Benham, you had something out?
No, that was from before.
Okay. Gerald, you had something?
Yeah. So to land me back, y'all killing it. I mean, so you know, we talked about this before. For Hamashiach to call Peter Satan. Get behind me, Satan. That proves the point right there. Like you're an adversary to me right now. Get behind me. He won't saying that he was Hasatan. I mean, he would just get behind me, Satan. And then when you think about it, this is where the layers come in, where
so
a lot of the camps. This is where the layers come in, where a lot of the camps fall short, because when not understanding that, then you look at the wrong enemy. You're focused on the wrong enemy, because the reality is we're living in a time right now where prophetically Esau is a Satan for God's people. The fourth beast who received the power from the dragon in Revelation 13 is a Satan for God's people. You know, so it's like it's so many aspects of it. So when you just say that all of one race is the devil of the Bible, that ain't nothing but babble. Confusion. You're throwing off. You don't even know who your enemy is. So how do you know how to fight?
Calm. I see your hand, Rod. Let's finish this text up before we take another comment. Just read, let's go to verse 14 through 15.
I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
When has the white man, red man, green man ever said, I will ascend above the clouds? Now, we know with technology, we know what's going on, but again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We know the spirit, the rawat behind this technology is not coming from a human. So the white man has never been in the Shemayim. He has never said, I'm going to exalt my throne above the Most High. The Hashatan, the ultimate enemy of this Bible, the ultimate enemy of the children of Israel, has no color. It is a spirit, an evil spirit who rebelled against the Most High. So calm down with your false doctrine and your star-studded presentations. Narai, you had something?
You literally just said what I was about to say, because I wanted to finish off just by saying who was the covenant given to, and who ended up breaking that covenant, and why? What influenced that people to break that covenant? It was Hasatan coming into, our assembly, some way, form, or fashion, in one generation or another, and going against the will of the Father. So, it's a lot of things going on within. I feel like our nation is at the point, and this is just what's been on my spirit. I don't know about anybody else, but we're at a point where we're still looking at other people and not being self-accountable for our own wickedness. And I think, I've just been feeling, in order for us as a nation to get to that next level, whatever the Most High is preparing for us, we got to start looking at ourselves. We were the ones who broke the covenant. We are the ones who are responsible for us being in this mess. It ain't their fault. The Most High told us he was going to do it to us. So we got to be introspective about this thing. And that's just what I see a lot lately. It's just a lot of people coming into this truth and then start feeling hatred towards other nations and people, just the flesh based off what they see and what we've experienced as a people, which is, it's understandable to a certain extent. But once you start really getting into this thing and start understanding why we over here in the first place, it's got to come to a point where you got to let that thing go and come into true repentance and change yourself from the inside. And yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Calm. We're trying to teach people how don't be, that's why I don't know if y'all noticed, but the last couple of weeks, I try to stay calm because this truth is like fire, like Jeremiah says. I can't stay calm when I see you lead my people astray. I can't stay calm. I watched a brother video today and I commented on it. He's a Hebrew lost, but his whole mission is debunk that Deuteronomy 28 is about us. And I said, you know what? Let me calm down and not be indoctrinated. Because if we're not the people, I want to stop telling people we're the people. I just want to focus on Christ. So I watched his presentation and I didn't feel no malice towards him or not. I said, brother, I appreciate your efforts, but your breakdown is kind of lacking scholarship. I said, you never addressed, he says he went to some scriptures and showed how we went back to Egypt. He said, see, this has been fulfilled. They already went back to Egypt. And I was like, well, brother, the text says with ships. I said, we always went back and forth to Egypt on foot. But the prophecy says with ships. So I hate to get riled up because people get enamored. Wow, he's really preaching. Y'all been in church. Oh, pastor tearing it up. Look at him up there dancing. He's sweating. He growling. But I can't help because we're at the door of this thing. And if you're sincere, I want to help you. But if you're sincerely just trying to be a devil, then I'm coming for you with sword drawn. Because this is not a game. So I try to stay calm, but this is not a game to me. This is our life. So thank you for that, Op. We're trying to teach people how put down that, ignore all the lights and glitters of this thing. Because we got people, they sound so educated and they, yes, and here on this screen. And just because you got a bunch of resources don't mean it's valid. This is an ancient text from, so what? The bulk of our family are pagans, family. You understand that? The bulk of the Israelite nations are pagans. Only a remnant stayed with Yah and listened to Moses. And that's what you see here, a microcosm. Only a remnant of us are trying to come back. So just because these brothers got all this breakdown and transitions and got a bunch of people agreeing with him, come on, man, miss me with that. So just with one text, we just debunked this doctrine that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. The white man may be an adversary, but he's not the adversary that the Bible speaks of. So if you keep saying that, you are in error, you are a false prophet. Let's go to our second witness. Let's go to Matthew chapter 4. Let's go to Matthew chapter 4. And Shamar, y'all, all we're going to do is run down the first 5 verses and blow this doctrine out the water. Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 through 5. Shamar, when you got it? Read.
Then was Yahushua led up of the Rawak into the wilderness to be tempted of Hasatan. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered.
Read on.
And when the tempter came to him and said, if thou be the Son of the Most High, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Most High.
This is how we are to engage the enemy. Those thoughts of fear and doubt, you are to recite the prophets, because the prophets are writing the words of Yah. So when you have that fear come on you, oh, what I'm going to do, you rehearse just like our king did. You say it is written. Sickness, you have to go. It is written. By his stripes we are healed. Fear and death can't live among us, family. If you're keeping this law the best you can, Yah has to move for you. If you act in his son name, you have to act in his son name, because the son says, if you ask the Father anything in my name, he has to do it for you. So fear and doubt, family, you do like the king did, and you said it is written. Read on.
Then Hasatan taketh him up into a holy city, and setteth him on the pinnacle of the temple.
Wait a minute, say what?
Then Hasatan taketh him up into a holy city, and setteth him on a pinnacle of the temple.
So a white man that took the Messiah up, levitated, because that's what they did here, family. The white man that took Messiah up and floated him up on top of a pinnacle of a temple. Can man do that? Man can do that? No. So how you talking about the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of?
He took him on an airplane. He took him on a spaceship. That's why. See, you got to understand that. See, NASA was started.
That's how they do.
I ain't hearing back. You're right.
This is funny, but that's what I'm witnessing. These brothers will read a passage and go on a 45-minute tangent with a bunch of stuff that sounds logical. And I'm looking at the screen like, excuse the language, is you crazy? And people sucking it out. Oh, that's good. Oh man, great breakdown. He ain't said nothing in line with the text. The white man is not the devil that the Bible speaks of. He's an adversary, but he's not, I'm going to let it flow. He's not even the true adversary. Y'all remember the class that brother, what's the brother from Rebirth? Malachi. Y'all remember that class from Malachi did? That was powerful.
The banner?
The banner. In that class, he says, we became an enemy of the Most High, and we're still standing. What other nation can say that? So the white man is your enemy? It's in the text. He says, I'll become your enemy. Israel, you turned your back on me, so watch me turn my back on you. So the white man is not the enemy. The white man is the gun. But who's pulling the trigger? It's Yah.
That's what we just see. That's what we just was saying earlier. That's exactly what we were just saying. I said it. Naraya just said it. You gotta look at yourself first and see what happened and why you are in this situation. See that the Most High said He did this to you. But if you look throughout history, the Most High uses the nations to bring His judgment down.
Always. He always used the nations. So the white man is not the devil that the Bible speaks of. And in actuality, he's not even a true adversary. Because when we're lawful, we have no enemies. We look at you like, you ever play fight with a baby? The baby going hard at you. That's how we are when we lawful. In what nation? The Most High said, don't worry. He told Hezekiah, the king of Assyria, won't shoot an arrow over here. So this whole doctrine, the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of. Bro, I say this with love. You're a liar. Your elders are liars. Your teachers are liars. Anybody repeating that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, you are a liar. Come see me. Now, any other questions before we move on? Anybody got any comments or questions before we move on? Does anybody believe the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of? Because we haven't did a good job. I don't mind keep trying to go at this. But those quick two precepts, like this blows out the water here, we're going to be the dead horse. So the next thing is, Esau is the white man. How many ever heard that? Esau is the white man. Okay. We're Israelites, we're Bereans, and we got to prove everything by 2 or 3 witnesses. Let's go to Genesis or Bereshit, chapter 22, verses 21 through 25. Genesis, those on the line, I hope you got your swords out. Genesis chapter 22, verses 21 through 25. Let's find out if Esau is the white man. And this is not even going to take long. It's not even going to take long. Shamar, when you have it, read.
What chapter?
Genesis 22, verses 21 through 25.
his first.
Oh, Salakia.
You meant Genesis 25.
Yeah, I transposed. I've been married about 15 years. I got that from my wife. I love you, baby. Yeah, I got that from her. Genesis 25. Genesis 25, verses 22.
And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it be so, why am I thus?"
So this is another Hebrewism. Verse 21 says Isaac entreated Yah for his wife. Isaac's wife was barren. You know, they've been together and say, wow, she ain't produced no seed. So is it something wrong with me or is it something wrong with her? Well, he didn't go to those doctors, those specialists and start guessing. He asked the Father, if it's something wrong with me or her, Father, open us up. So in these last days, you're sick, you're scared, fast unto the Father. And if you're not strong enough to fast 12 hours or 24 hours, fast for 2 hours. Be quiet for 3 hours. Get off social media for 4 hours. Do something for Yah, and whatever you take away, spend that time with Yah and say, Father, give me some faith. Give me some power. That's what's going to happen. I told you that whole charismatic chaos, because you're screaming and shaking, you're going to have the gift of healing. Man, ain't no gift of healing coming to you because you're doing all this growling. No. You want the gift of healing, follow the law. It says, Father, you said no sickness should be on us. We lay hands on and we forget about it. How the Italians say? Forget about it. Come on. This Christian can't pray until something happened. That ain't what the script say. The script say, when you pray, believe you received it. Because the Father knows what you have need of before you ask. So I ain't gonna keep praying about heal my wife, heal my wife. Thank you, God. I know it's your will for her to be healed. I know sickness ain't of you. Thank you, y'all. I'm moving on. Moving on. Yes, she's still coughing, she's still sneezing. So what, y'all? Thank you. You don't let what your eyes see control you. You don't let what your eyes see control you. It's about to happen now. So Isaac entreated his wife. Why is my wife barren? Now read on.
And the children, wife, she was barren, treated, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh, and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger.
I ain't never catch this. I love when we get together. You see, this is another perfect example of how Hebrew marriages work. Isaac entreated his wife. So Isaac, like Shemaiah said, he was going to the east and to pray. So we always had locations where we went to separate from people. So Isaac went to go and treat Yah. His wife was looking. Where you going, babe? I'm going to talk to the Father. So now Rebecca is feeling some type of way. And what does she do? I'm going to seek Yah. You see how leading your house by Yah? Being a man is not having a wife beater on and Tim's, where my food at? You ain't going nowhere tonight. That's not being a man. Being a man is seeking Father. Father, teach me how to lead my household. You can beat your son till he's blue, black, and if your son is wicked, he's going to get out in the streets. But when he see you, my dad's a big, strong man, and my dad ain't scared to pray. My dad ain't scared to clap his hands. That's how we lead our families, Father. Oh my goodness. I love our culture. Read on.
And
so she entreated the Father.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb.
Twins in her womb, okay.
And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment.
There you go. That's Esau. Who's red? Who's red? That's Esau. That's Esau. Who's red? Who's red? Finish that out.
And they called his name Esau.
They called his name Esau. He came out red and hairy, and they called his name Esau. So I have a whole class, or we have a whole class on the YouTube channel, ID and Uncle Esau, and we have more and more documents and pictures to prove this. But these carnal brothers who don't take the time to seek Yah for understanding, you just start studying. You're a groupie looking in the mouth and eyes of your teacher, of your elder. So now you scared to even ask him. The text is not pointing out the difference was the readiness. If you go check the class out, I think it's called Uncle Esau Adid. My son and my daughter both came out red when they were born. And y'all see how dark I am. Their mother is dark as me. So my joke was, I gotta go to Maury to see if these kids are mine. So all of our children, unless we're really darkly melanated, all our children come out reddish. Now, dark-skinned babies, how can you tell a baby's gonna be dark-skinned? Y'all haven't had children yet. Ears. For you brothers like you'll know if that's your child, because if they're gonna be dark, around the ear be dark. So him coming out red is not the distinguishing factor here. Esau coming out hairy is the distinction. Prove it, Obadiah. Well, what's his name? Esau. That's a translation. It's our customs. Y'all know how we do in the hood. We give you a nickname by how you look. What's up? What's up, Peg Leg? What's up, Slim? What's up, Tiny? Fats? We joked about it before. We got a brother back home. I don't know if he's still living, but he was. It was a tragic story. His family was burnt up by the Klan, and he was like the only one survived. But he was burnt all over his body. In the hood, he's burnt Mickey, and he started to accept that because it went from being a crack to that's love. So he embraced. You say, "What's up, burnt Mickey?" He said, "What's up?" That's our practice. And it's in the scriptures. They called him Esau, not because he came out red, because he came out hairy.
Esau means hairy, not red.
You in my notes. So let's prove it. Let's be obedient to our own doctrine. And let's present our two witnesses to prove that Esau is not the white man. So those online, let me know if the screen is sharing. Can y'all see that?
Yeah, we can see it.
So it's a clear. Can you hit the light? It's a clear. So in Hebrew, we have synonyms for words. So some words have 3 or 4 synonyms. So that's why I say you always got to check the context. You have to check the intensity. Like if they're angry, they'll use a different word. So you always got to check the context of the speaker. Let's just click on this Leviticus 13:3. Let's see what word they use for hair. So if this is new to you, you parse out the verse and you look for the words you're looking for, and we're looking for hair. The plague of the hair. Leprosy. Did I pass it?
Yeah. It's 81.
Okay, so here's Strong's H8181, and we have a couple words for hair, but it's always pretty much this one right here. So I click on this. Is it delaying? Okay, it's a little delay. So the Hebrew word, or the most commonly used Hebrew word for hair, is called sha'ar or shar. This right here, family, this letter in the middle, just ignore that. That's the pagans putting vowels in here. So they're trying to use this. This right here is SH. This is SH for Shah. This right here is really an I, but we don't need it because we don't use vowels. So the 2 letters for hair is the SH for Shah, and this is a Ra. This is a R. So the root of the word hair in Hebrew is shar. So the root of the word hair is, ignore this one in the middle and just take the first one, SH, and this is a R, shar, in the sense of disheveling or hair. So, and you see here is the definition. And we do have synonyms. We have a couple other words for hair, but the most commonly used word is going to be shar. So when you take a look at Esau's name, let's type in Esau real quick and show you that he's named for his hairiness, not for his skin tone. So go here, and they called his name, the first came out red all over.
Ashar.
They called him what?
Ashar. That's what I was looking at. His name really is, I mean, it's like Ashar, because that's Aleph in their language. So there's no E's. And then this is just me. That's why you kept seeing me looking over here, because I was doing this like 10 minutes ago. But Ashar, to me, it's like he was already predestined to be what he was gonna be. Because I was trying to think, I was like, he's given the strength to destroy. But then I was like, you know what? When I was looking at it right then, I was like, he's separated from the chief from the beginning. He's separated from the chief. I'm telling you, this language thing, I'm over here.
I'm laughing because it's not me, it's the Most High, but
yeah,
man.
You was just talking. I'm just over here, like, I mean, I'm paying attention, but I'm just over here reading this stuff myself, and I'm just like, man, this thing is. I'm like, man, I was like, dang, well, he given the sword to live by the sword, so that's what my mind was thinking at first. But then I kept looking. I'm like, well, this thing is showing that he was already, the Most High already knew he was going to be wicked because his name is to be separated from the chief.
So Shemaiah is right on point. When you learn these letters here are adulterations. These letters here that you see on the screen, family, a Hebrew, our ancients wouldn't be able to read this because our way of life is not abstract. Our way of life is concrete, and you get the concrete context from the pictures. So I wasn't going to do this. I didn't have this plan, but since Shemaiah brought this out, y'all bear with me. This right here is not how you really spell our uncle Esau's name. This character right here, in our original, this is a picture of an eye. But the pagans turned our I's into E's. And sometimes they do that with our A's or our I's. So you don't spell our uncle's name with the E or I. You spell his name with the I, the ox head. The ox head represents, no, I won't do it for the sake of time. The ox head represents, let me see if I can do this. Let me do this, because I know people knew. I'm gonna pull up, I'm gonna find an online alphabet to show you his real name in the Hebrew. And once I show you his real name in the Hebrew, what Shemaiah is saying is gonna become more clear to you what he's saying. His name distinguished what his character, what he was gonna be, how he's gonna be separated from the Father. So which one we need? Y'all see the pictures?
You gotta type in paleo or something. Cause you know the first thing they're gonna bring up is.
Yeah, this is a small one. Let me see if this can get bigger. No. Oh. Okay. All right, family. So I want Shemaiah to give you that breakdown again. Now that I got the is this the it's not even the paleo. This is not it either.
It's got all kinds of ones on that one.
I want to show you the paleo, the pictographs, so you understand how we process. Once you learn these pictures, it's easy to read Hebrew. It's easy. And we may come to the answer by different routes, but once we understand our culture, we should all be in the same ballpark, how we break down the letters. Okay, so here we go. That's just the ah. Oh, here we go, boom. So, All right, boom. This is probably the best we're going. I got this on my computer. I don't know why I put it up on the computer. I'm being lazy. So boom. So Shamaria, get that breakdown again of Uncle Esau's name.
Esau, Ashar, or from the root of Shar. And Shar is the Shah, or the on here, it'll be the one that says the Shin, which is the look like two teeth.
Here's the Shah.
And and they say eat, consume, or destroy, but it also means join together or separate.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Ra.
Here's the original Ra family. Here's our original R sound. It's the head of a man.
So you'll hear them say Resh, but it's Ra. And it's head, person, first, chief. And it just depends on kind of the context of what you're talking about, because the chief is the most high, the chief is or the highest. So when you look at it in that context, it shows that with that name Shar, or the root Shar, it means that it's going to be separated from the chief from the beginning, especially separated from the chief from the beginning. So
what Shemaiah is teaching y'all, family, the root of Esau's name, his real name, not the butchered Latin and the Yiddish, the root of his name is Shar. And Shar, guess what Shar is also? What's the word for another word for Shar in the Hebrew? Anybody knows? Y'all remember? Was y'all here with us? Shar is the word for leaven. What does leaven represent to us as Hebrews? Sin. So Shar is the word for leaven, and it's also used for hair. Why is it used for hair? Because Shah, the two front teeth, in this context, is being separated, and your hair is separated from what? Your head. You see how Hebrew would context this? Now, Ashar is his name. Here's the true first letter of his name. Ashar. Reason why we use the is because he came out first. He came out first, and he came out hairy. Ashar. And it's just is it a coincidence that he's Shar, he's leaven, he's full of sin because the Father put it in him. That's why I said to the brothers, take it easy on Esau. He can't do nothing but be Esau. We're not great because we're intelligent. The Father said, I chose one in the womb. The babies didn't do nothing wrong. The Father just said, I'm choosing this one over that one. So you and I, we're not so great. That's why that's why you see me, I cry tears, because it's nothing about us. You ain't no smart, I got a doctor, PhD, and I can speak the Lashawan Kadesh. You're a dirtbag. You're a dirtbag. You're saved by the blood of our King, and it's nothing special about you or Jacob. The Father chose Jacob. So Esau can't help but to be Esau. But he's not the white man. He's not the white man. He's distinguished by his hairiness. Ashar. The first came out with hair all over him. Let's get our second witness so people say I ain't making things up. So he was distinguished by his roughness, by his hairiness, right? Let's go get you a second witness here. And this is the complete works of Josephus. If you Google Josephus, y'all know they already renaissanced them, right? But Josephus is a Levite. He give you his pedigree. This is the complete works of Josephus, and this is the book, The Antiquities of the Jews, and this is chapter 18, and it says, concerning the sons of Isaac, Esau, and Jacob, of their nativity and education. So it's talking about the twin boys that we're talking about, right? So let me make this bigger for the family. Oh, thank you, thank you so much. So this is about the twin boys, our father, Yaakov, whose name was changed to Israel, and our uncle Esau, right? So can you read the first paragraph?
Now, Isaac's wife proved with child after the death of Abraham, and when her belly was greatly burdened, Isaac was anxious, or was very anxious, and inquired of the Most High, who answered, that Rebekah should bear twins, that 2 nations should take the names of those sons, and that he who appeared the second should excel the elder.
The youngest is going to be greater than the elder.
Accordingly, she in a little time, as the Most High foretold, bare twins, the elder of whom from his head to his feet was very rough and hairy.
That's what we just brought out. The first one came out rough and hairy. That red has nothing to do with describing Uncle Esau. All of our children come out red because for one, they're covered in what?
Blood.
Blood. And then two, they've been inside the belly of their moms. They haven't been exposed to the sun. So all of our children, unless you really are, I'm not trying to be mean to anyone, unless you're Ethiopian blue black, all our babies come out with a reddish tone. All our babies. So the distinguishing mark is not his color, it's his roughness. Read on.
But the younger took hold of his heel as they were in the birth. And
that's how our father is named. Esau is named for his roughness. Our father's named because he took hold. Yaakov, some people say Yaakov or Yaquab. Yaquab means I'm taking my hand, the qua is rising up. I'm taking my hand to rise up, the ba inside. I rose up inside over my brother. That's Yaquab. That's our father's birth name. That's why his mother, I guess who the maidens must have seen, hey, the young one is grabbing the older one's heel. So they called him Yaquab. He's coming up over, pulling himself up over his brother inside the womb. That's what Yaquab means.
Man was having a ladder match up in there. Jacob's ladder.
Jacob's ladder.
He was climbing that ladder for the belt.
Maybe the Rawat was in the baby telling him, hey, you're supposed to be first over your big brother. So he's already reaching. The Rawat told me I'm over you, big bro. Come out. You can't beat me by a second. So that's what Yaquab means. I'm taking my hand, I'm pulling myself up, qua, rising up, ba, inside. I'm rising up inside my mother's womb over my brother. That's who we come from. So we name our children by the attributes, but most times it's by what the Most High already told him, name him Yaquab. Name him we're mighty people, family. We're mighty people. We're mighty people.
Still cage match. He trying to crawl out the cage. You grabbed by the ankle at the last minute.
So, accordingly, she
in a little time, as the Most High foretold, bare twins, the elder of whom from his head to his feet was very rough and hairy, but the younger took hold of his heel as they were in the birth. Now the father loved the elder, who was called Esau.
I thought Esau was so much hated. Isaac loved Esau, Uncle Esau, more than he loved our father. If you're going to teach the book right. Our grandfather preferred Esau, but our grandmother, Rebecca, loved the younger one. And it's near to me because I'm the youngest. Now watch my wife because my wife's the oldest. I don't mean nothing.
A name agreeable to his roughness, for the Hebrews call such a hairy roughness Ashar. And then here he has Seir, but Jacob the younger was best beloved by his mother.
This is why I don't try to make a contention over people speaking some people are speaking Yiddish and don't know it, but it's even older than the Yiddish because the vowels came from the Greeks. So when those we're gonna keep this, when those what we're gonna call them immigrants, when those immigrants came, they started making up words too to make it easier for them to speak. That's why when you hear people like, if we don't hear our people speak, to me that's those Germans. Those Germans, y'all, because that's your language. Now you're making up words, but the vowels came from the Greeks. So you'll see Seir and Esau. To me, it's like for A, you're losing the context of the speaker. You see how Shemariah was able to identify who Uncle Esau's character was by the characters of his letter? You're separated from the Ra. You're separated from the chief. He got that from the pictures. You can't get that with English, Latin, or the second generation of the characters. You can't get that, family. So this is our second witness, family. And the reason why I trust Josephus, even with them trying to alter his writings, Josephus was a Levite. That means Josephus had access to records the average Israelite wouldn't have. Josephus is a Levite. He worked in the temple, and he had access to records that you and I wouldn't have access to. So even though they have whitewashed him, turned him into a fair-skinned European, they even try to butcher some of his writings, I still hold Josephus as a valid witness that the twins came out rough and hairy, and the other one was raising himself up over his brother. Now, let's drop down and get some more about our father and our uncle. This is when the blessing was about to be given out, right? So we're gonna skip paragraph 5. This is Esau about to go out hunting to get, because remember, he's loved by Isaac. Esau is loved by our grandfather Isaac, and he's going out to get some venison. What is venison, Chef?
Young cow. Oh no, venison is
Like a deer.
I thought it was some kind of deer.
Yeah.
So Uncle Esau is about to go get some young deer meat that our grandfather loves. Now read paragraph 6, what our grandmother Rebecca does.
Accordingly, Ashar or Esau went out a hunting, but Rebekah, thinking it proper to have the supplication made for obtaining the favor or the blessing of the Most High to Jacob, and that without the consent of Isaac, bid him kill kids of the goats and prepare a supper.
She's telling Jacob, I want you to get the blessing. So while your brother is going hunting, go get one of our own goats, and I'm going to prepare for your father, even though your father didn't ask for goats, he asked for venison. But we got to do this real quick before your brother come back. Read on.
So Jacob obeyed his mother.
Good son.
According to all her instructions. Now when the supper was ready, or when the supper was got ready, he took a goat skin and put it about his arm.
He's taking the hair of a goat and putting it on his arms. Why is he doing this? Read on.
That by reason of its hairy roughness, he might by his father be believed to be Esau.
Why?
For they being twins, and in all things else alike.
Say what?
In all things else alike.
No, one's white, one's black.
In all things else alike.
No, one's white, one's ruddy.
For they being twins, and in all things else alike. Differed only in this one thing.
This is Josephus. I got the complete works here, but you can download this as a PDF. Our father Yaakov, Jacob, and Uncle Esau are identical, except that Uncle Esau is hairy all over, and our father Yaakov is hairless. He probably couldn't grow a full beard like us. This is Josephus telling you that the twin boys were alike in everything except the hairiness. So when you get on your platform being all cocky and arrogant, and you're posting memes that Esau is white, you're in false doctrine. It seems funny, it gets a bunch of likes, it gets a bunch of views, but Esau is not the white man. Esau is black as me. Uncle Esau is a Negro. This is our witnesses, and we're not done. Let's go back to the book. Go ahead, Op.
Because you might be going there, but do y'all hear feedback? Can you turn that down?
A little bit.
So basically, and you might be going there, but I was thinking like already they going wrong, because you showed the key thing that the name don't even mean red. It means hairy. And in actuality, when you think about it, the Hebrew word for Adam is of the red earth. You know, so if Adam has something to do with red, and Esau has nothing to do with red, already they starting off wrong. Who told you that Esau meant red? Because you got off track right there.
My elder told me. My elder said it. So I got to go with my elder. He's been teaching 30 years. He got pictures.
100%. Yep.
So Khan, the rabbit hole goes deep. If he came out red and red means he's white, Adam means red. So now you're saying Adam is white. You see how they sound, and I'm trying not to be mean, but they sound so ignorant. Y'all give them fuel to laugh at us. You sound ignorant. Talk about Esau's the white man. You sound retarded. I know I take that word back. That's offensive to people with disabilities. You sound goofy. You sound real goofy. So let's get back into the text. Let's prove it further that Uncle Esau is not white. He's not non-melanated. Let's go back to Genesis 26, verses 34 through 35. Am I going too fast? Is this making sense? No subject is closed, family. If this is not right, show us and we're correct, because this is not about me. This is not about the Torah group. This is about the truth. I'm sick of these brothers out here. Genesis 26, verse 34. Shemai, read.
Verse 34.
Mm-hmm.
And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Bashemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of mind unto Isaac and Rebekah.
Uncle Ashar was 40 years old, and he went and married these two sisters, and they were Hittites. And this grieved our grandmother Rebekah. Why would this grieve our grandmother Rebekah? They're Canaanites. Hittite, let's go ahead and prove it since we said it. Let's go over to Genesis 10:15 to show you who the Hittites are. Genesis 10, verse 15.
So, like Amara, I just wanted to ask a question just to have understanding for myself. This is kind of, I ain't gonna say it's kind of off topic, but the word ashar, is that the same word that Yahweh used for with Masha in the bush when he said Ahaya, Ashar, Ahaya?
No, it's a different context. When that word Ahaya, Ashar, it would be Ahaya, Ashar, I will be that I will be. So we don't have, it's hard to explain because we don't have parts of speech like they taught us in school, all these pronouns and prepositions. We don't have that. We just teach our children how to speak, and we know the language. So when our schools, first of all, your mother and father taught you. So right now, if you guys go out and have babies and don't take them to school, they're gonna learn how to speak, but they won't know that eat is a vowel. I mean, eat is a verb. They won't know eat. All they know is daddy eat. And you're gonna ask them, is that a verb or a noun? It don't matter. I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we don't have prepositions and nouns and parts of speech. All that came from the Greeks, and I got the text to prove it. So when you go to Exodus 3:14, and the Most High told Moses or Uncle Masha, he says, tell them Ahaya. Ahaya is for the lack of a better word, Ahaya is a compound. Ah is I. Haya means to be. So Ahaya means I will be, and Ashar is that or whatever I want to be. So the father told Masha, Exodus 3:14, tell the people Ahaya, Ashar, Ahaya. I will be whatever I want to be. If I want to be the water, I'll be the water. If I want to be a tree, I'll be a tree. That's what he was. That wasn't his name he was giving them. That was his essence, his character. I'll be whatever I want to be to you. That's what he was saying. So Ashar there, that usage is not the same as Harry or sin, because the Father is not sinful, if that makes sense. So it's a different, for the lack of a better word, because we grew up in their school system, that's a different preposition. That I hate using their terms for our culture. But that's a different usage of the word, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So Uncle Esau went and married these Hittites. Let's find out who these Hittites are in Genesis 10 and 15.
Genesis chapter 10, verse 15. And Canaan begot Zidon, his firstborn, and Heth.
And Heth. Heth is the original name of the Hittites. They're Hittites. That's why these translations and these languages just got us lost. That's why we're trying to come back to our language. So these daughters that Uncle Esau married, they're daughters of Canaan. Who is Canaan related to? Ham. They're dark-skinned people. So even if Uncle Esau did come out white, his first wives are black people. What's the chances of his seed coming out white? Slim to none. But we already blow out the water that he's not white, he's hairy and a black man. Now he takes 2 black women to give him children. You see, their doctrine makes no, you look silly on your camera. You look real dumb. You look real dumb. Esau's not the white man. Esau is not the white man. So let's get another witness, or let's move on to something else. Let's go to Matthew 2. Let's go to Matthew 2, verse 13. Their doctrine is silly. There's no scholarship behind it. It's just a bunch of pride. It's a bunch of people regurgitating the same doctrine. Family, the Torah Group, we're not about that. You take these classes and you dissect them yourself. If you find something different, please call me, text me, email me. We're not that group. We're not that group puffed up where we can't get things wrong. Matthew chapter 2, verse 13.
And when they, Matthew chapter 2, verse 13, and when they were departed, behold, the Malach Yahweh appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, arise and take the young child and his mother and flee into Egypt.
Say what?
And flee into Egypt. And be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek thee, or seek the young child to destroy him.
You see, Joseph took Mary and baby Jesus to Egypt. You don't take a white baby to hide among the Egyptians. Jesus is black. Y'all heard that before?
Yeah.
You don't take a white baby into Egypt to hide out. So this is proof. This is a proof text. That's what they say, right? They like to use these fancy words. This is a proof text that our Messiah is black. Okay. Baby Jesus went into Egypt, so this proves that he's black. Okay. Let's go back to 1 Kings 11. Let's go back to 1 Kings, because now this proves Jesus is a black man. So, because Jesus went to Egypt. You don't take a white baby to hide amongst black people, right? Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 11, and we're going to pick it up at verse 17. Jesus is a black man. Jesus is a black man. But you fornicating and cussing people out, got people kissing your feet, but Jesus is a black man. That's all you want to talk about. Go that away, man. 1 Kings 11, verse 17. Shema. Read.
That Hadad fled, and he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him to go into Egypt.
Say what?
That Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him to go into Egypt.
Hadad is an Edomite, and some of his Edomite brothers and cousins are running from King Dawud, and they're going to run from King Dawud to go to Egypt. So if your stance is Jesus went to hide in Egypt, so he has to be black, well, you can't switch it up and say Esau is white if we got Edomites running to Egypt. You see how silly you look? You see how goofy you look? You make us all look bad. That's why I told you when I first came in, I didn't want to put fringes on. I didn't want to wear the diadems because I didn't want to be grouped up with these idiots. That's what it is, family. My gloves are off. That's why I wasn't wearing diadems. I wanted to wear that Demetrius and stuff, but I didn't want to be. My whole preference was my wife, my witness. When I first came out telling people that I'm a Hebrew, I'm an Israelite, and I started wearing the garments, the next thing came out of my mouth is, I'm not like that. I'm not, because I felt like I had to preface that. Yes, I don't cuss people out. I don't practice multiple wives. I don't scream. I don't talk about the white man as the devil. They was like, okay. Because I didn't know who they'd been exposed to. You had some, Chef?
Oh, no, I was agreeing. It was him. I got some, you brought out something else that he and I be talking about all the time that I got to share with a leader.
Okay. You can't be selective with your scholarship. If you use that text in Matthew 2 to prove that Messiah is black because he ran to Egypt, well, you can't say Edom or Esau is white when we got Edomites running to Egypt.
And then if you want, like, bring it to the point, well, these are grown white men. God, in the same verse, at the end of the verse, being yet a little child.
Come on, let's finish this out.
And to go into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little child.
Hadad is a young child, and he's fleeing with his cousins and other Edomites into Egypt, running from our uncle, King Dawud. Read on.
And they arose out of Midian and came to Paran, and they took men with them out of Paran, and they came to Egypt unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, which gave him an house and appointed him victuals, and gave him land. And Hadad found favor, great favor in the sight of Pharaoh, so that he gave him to wife the sister of his own wife, the sister of Taphanes, the queen.
So now here's an Edomite marrying an Egyptian, a Hamite. Your doctrine is out the water. You're out of order. You and your whole camp, your father, your elder, all y'all out of order. You're making us look bad. You're hurting the Messiah. You're hurting the movement. And I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
So no matter how you look at it, right? Say if he, so no matter how you look at it, even if he came out pale-faced, he had,
go ahead.
If he came out with lack of melanin, you know what I'm saying? He had he may have had wives that were dark skinned, that lack of melanin being a recessive trait, the baby's gonna be dark skinned and high melanin, or not high melanin, but they're gonna be darker than he is. You know what I'm saying? And then if you're gonna say, no matter how you turn it, his descendants are going to be dark skinned people. You know what I'm saying? So that takes that whole doctrine out into the streets and get ran down by cars.
I have a couple friends who are biracial. I have one friend that his dad is a Hebrew and his mom is so-called a Caucasian. But he looks, and me and him grew up in high school, we're still tight when we see each other. But he looks like Blake Griffin. And I also have friends with the reverse, where the dad is a so-called European and the mom is a Hebrew. And they still come out looking like Blake Griffin. So your whole doctrine that Esau's the white man, it sounds idiotic to the learn. That's why I'm telling y'all, this is not us puffing up. This is the facts of the case. This is what I've been dealing with all these years. You listen to these people like, man, I don't know if I can build with you, because if I bring out the truth, now you're gonna look at me like, you know what I mean? This is what y'all are exposed to. What we're learning. I'm not coming down on the Israelite community, but I got to be fair. I'm going to call it like I see it. You got a lot of brothers just imitating other classes, just getting on YouTube and just taking notes, and you ain't doing it. You ain't vetting nobody. You ain't vetting. You just that sounds good. That got a lot of views. Now you're gonna do it on your channel.
It makes sense.
You ain't vetting nobody. And I'm guilty of it. When I first came in, I got burnt by the 12 tribes chart. I started making copies of it, pushing it out. I got burnt. I learned my lesson. I got burnt. I didn't sort of get burnt, but I told you for almost 2 years, I was like sort of rolling with the 13 months, because I was like, okay, he's my elder. He knows a little bit more than me, so let me give him the benefit of the doubt. But it never set well with me. Then when I had enough witnesses, I said, I can't do the 13 months. There ain't no witnesses in the Bible about no 13-month calendar. So be Bereans, whether you're an Israelite teacher or you're a student or you just rolling with the Israelites. I don't care how well this brother speaks. I don't care how much, oh man, he be breaking it down. Oh man, he ain't miss me with all that talk, man. Our king talk everyday common language, farm talk. You got a bunch of slides up there and you got no names, check the floral arrangements of, come on, man. Get out of here with all that, man. This thing ain't a hard life. Here's the commandments. Do this and live or die. This is a simple way of life. You got people looking at your presentation, 7-hour presentation. Man, go play in traffic. I'm tired of these people, man. So if you're going to use Matthew 2, that baby Messiah went to Egypt, now this proves the Messiah is black. Well, here's a baby Edomite going to Egypt to hide out. Your doctrine is crazy. I'm tired of these people.
So, Shalaki, so to let me back, and just to clarify, because I think you've already dropped the mic, really, on the whole idea that Esau been white from the jump, and all of his offspring has been white, and that's the white man, and they're the devil, blah, blah, blah. You know, again, going to from the prophetic route, and understanding that one of his biggest problems was he kept merging with the nations. You know, speed it up, modern day, after he merged in with Kittim, and I don't know if you go in this direction, but after he merged in with Kittim, that's when it seems prophetically where it started to be modern day a whiting out aspect. Now, it still doesn't mean that all white people are Esau or Edom. That's not true. However, modern day, right now, what we know of Edom prophetically, and knowing that Kittim is Rome, and Rome is the authority right now, then we can see why Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning that followed.
Without going into it, we got the full class on the channel, but there's research, and of course everything is open to inspection and review. There's research and a lot more sources than not that says the original Kittim or the original Romans are dark-skinned people. Because when we go to the book of Yashar, one of the Edomites named Zepho, he was the first king. Rome or Italy never had a king system until Zepho got there. So the first king ever to rule over Italia is Zepho. And Zepho, once he got his kingdom set up, of course he does like the nations do now. They go back to their homeland and get their brothers and cousins to come rule over the people. So the original Romans are dark-skinned people. I'm still hunting for when the blood got diluted. I can't find that.
Yeah, I wanted to say, Gerald, I mean, that's what I think. I agree with what you were saying. Gotcha. I agree with what you're saying. And I'm just speaking on what I believe from what I've seen so far, is that they were black, because Jasher talks about Zepho, and Zaphah. But there's those three nations that came against Rome that they never seen before anybody fight that way, and they don't know where they came from. And then it says those people, like the Huns and some others, overtook the Romans, and then it says they also became the Romans. So I believe too that's where, again, this is not, you got to do your own, people got to do their own research. But you know how me and you be talking, Gerald. So I'm just talking now. That's where I see the turn start. To me, that's where I see the turn start happening, where they are, because I believe those 13 bloodline families, the Rothschilds and all that stuff, in my opinion, that's Esau's bloodline.
So I mean, in a nutshell, Gerald, no one I've seen, none of the research I've seen can definitively say how and when and where it got diluted. But we do have definitive research that says all of Europe used to be dark. The word Europe itself, and you can fact check me, the word Europe itself comes from a Canaanite woman named Europa. So if they named the whole area after Europa, a Canaanite, that tells you. So this is research they don't tell us in school. But when you talk about it and you look, when you got melanin, or you're retarded, you don't know what you're talking about. That's why I like using the non-melanated sources to bring it out, because me and you can't bring it out. I didn't finish my degree. I'm not polished. I don't use a bunch of fancy Greek words, so I sound ignorant. So we use the non-melanated people and share their videos. Here's an objective, non-racist person telling you that all Europe was populated by dark people. So that's all I got for that. Anything else before we move on to our last point?
Which make a lot of sense. And yeah, thank you for the insight, because I heard something like that. And it does make sense. We know at some point it did get diluted. It did get whitened out, so to speak. The other aspect of it, I think in Obadiah, when it started identifying the Edomites with the eagle, that kind of like put themselves in the stars and so forth. And then you know how the camps trace back and say that the Greeks, the Romans, and this modern day divided Rome system, you know, all identify themselves as the eagle. And on surface, when you see it, we see the diluted version,
Right.
you know, because history not teaching us the original what these people were. So mentally, automatically, these people are going to thinking that the Greeks are Caucasian people, the Romans are Caucasian people, and the modern day, clearly the modern day royals are who they are. You know, you can see how they're being misled and thrown off to think that way about it without knowing all of the facts, the historical context. So just speaking from the perspective of the other side, because I always try to look at it from both sides to try to understand how somebody can be thrown off. But yeah, like I said, this is good information for everybody to gather and research on themselves. Because yeah, you're right. I mean, if it was once a melanated nation, something happened. Something happened to change it from what we see today.
There's
So
a resource. I think I got it down here somewhere. There's a resource that you can get. It's very cheap. It's by one of our brothers, our patriarchs, J.A. Rogers, and the book is, I got it, I think, off Amazon, maybe $10. It's called Nature Knows No Color Line. And what this brother did, I think this book was, he wrote this book back in the 50s. What he did, he went and researched all the ancient crests of the European countries. And when you get this book, we got it here in the bio. When you get this book, you find out that all the crests of the European countries have dark people with protruding lips and noses, and they're wearing diadems. And I'm talking about Germany. I'm talking about Russia. I'm talking about all those Josephus countries. Why all these countries have their crests have dark people on it? All of them. So it's like they were in a rush to destroy us and kick us out, but you kept our crest. You know, like you should have erased everything. You know what I mean?
Research conquers always.
Yeah, so that's one resource you can get. Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. And all those European countries were once in the hands of dark people. Some of them were Israelites, the sons of Jacob from the northern kingdom, and some of them was from our uncle Esau, who took over Italia, Britannica, and all those other islands. So Hebrews pretty much was controlling the world, either under Israelite, under Jacob's seed, or under Esau's seed. All Europe was in the hands of dark people. It's not racist, it's just the facts of the case. I seen the right hand first and then a Benham.
Oh, so that was from earlier.
Okay, all right. Benham, you had your hand up, Benham?
Slovakia. I remember teaching when I said that Esau name mean wasted. Like, do you know where that actually came from as far as that interpretation or definition of his name?
It means what? You went out.
Or wasted. Or waste away.
Waste away. If you look at the original pictures that we did, the eye is, for the first. I mean, if you want to interpret the shah as destroying, being wasted, I guess you can get there. But the more concretely definition is what I brought out to be separated from the chief or the first ones. That's shar, and it's also hair, right? So, I mean, because the shah, the two front teeth represents being destroyed. So if you want to process that as being wasted, I guess it's not totally off. Not totally. I mean, you're in the same ballpark. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if that was like, all for in the ballpark. Also, I've heard it taught that the mark that was put on Cain, that is, I guess, a sign, or that's where Esau would have gotten his non-pigmented physical identity from that mark of Cain.
Yeah, I heard that for years. And again, I would ask these brothers to produce your witnesses. Produce your witnesses, not your interpretation, not your exegesis. Give me 2 concrete witnesses that says the mark of Cain was leprosy. You don't find, I can't find, I haven't found yet what the mark of Cain was. It just said he was marked. It just said he was marked.
I don't know if he was strong. Oh, never mind.
It could have been he was marked with a patch in the hair. He was marked with something on his skin. The mark is, I haven't found anything in our ancient writings, and I'm talking about the pseudepigraphers. I haven't found anything to explain what the mark was. It just said he was marked. It could have been spiritually, because our fathers, our ancients had more spiritual discernment than we have now. They worked out in nature, so they prayed all day long, they sung all day long. So he could have went around people and their spirits automatically recognized that he was marked for destruction. So these brothers saying that, produce your witnesses that said the mark of Cain was light skin or lack of melanin. They can't produce that. If that makes sense. Any other thing before we move on to our last point? Any other comments, questions till we move on to our last point? This is previewing Just Give Me Book TV, and we're holding ourselves to the same standards of everyone else. We're using Yah's plumb line. Yah's plumb line is 2 or 3 witnesses. It's verifying that the prophet said it. It's verifying that the Messiah said. And if we can't verify with the plumb line, we cannot roll with it. We cannot use it for our doctrine. That's what we're doing today, family. We are previewing Just Give Me Book TV that's coming out real soon. So the last point I want to go over, and this is not going to be in depth, this is just a tip of the iceberg. Somebody give me a drum roll. Virgin birth doctrine. We're about to touch real quickly on the virgin birth doctrine. And I'm going to confess, because I'm a man and I'm not embarrassed by anything that happens over here. For about a year and a half, I didn't go public, but I was holding to, this brother had a great presentation, and I still respect the brother. There's nothing wrong with me now changing my stance. But I saw a brother, he's still one of my favorite teachers. And his presentation was like, wow, like, whoa, he convinced me. And he had witnesses. And he changed my stance. And I was like, Joseph is the daddy. Joseph impregnated Mary. And I wasn't embarrassed by it. Me and my op was building, and he was like, yeah, I seen it too. So I was like, I said, I ain't going to present it because I ain't trying to make contentions. But for about a year and a half, I held the position that, Joseph did impregnate Mary. But as I continued to grow and study and be open, I came across some more research just by happenstance. I wasn't even researching the virgin birth. That's how it happens. You'll be researching this one topic, and you'll find like, whoa, like this is some good. Like now you on this tangent, but I'm like, oh my God. So that's what happened, family. I wasn't even researching the virgin birth, and I came across some information. And so I got my notes built up. But then recently, I was listening to another brother's take on the virgin birth. Because again, for me, I'm not embarrassed. No topic is cold. If you got the evidence, prove to me I'm not an Israelite. Prove to me that the Messiah is non-melanated. I'm not afraid to attack or address any topic, because like I tell y'all, don't become married to any information, and especially don't become married to any teacher. Because once you become married to a teacher, now you're offended when someone teaches something opposing that teacher, because you feel they're attacking the teacher. That's how you know you've been indoctrinated, you're becoming a groupie. So don't become married to any teacher or any information.
No matter who the person is, even if it's your father.
Come. Abraham had to go against his own father, take ride with the idols. So again, those online, the Facebook community, those who see this at a later date, brother Abaya, talking about myself, I'm humble. If you approach me with humility, I'm going to receive you with humility. If you come to me with a bunch of pride and self-puffed upness, well, I'm not too far removed. I'm going to meet you with that same venom. But if you come to me with love, say, did you see this? What do you think about this? I'm willing to sit down and build and discuss. And if you got the evidence, I'm going to come like I did 2 or 3 times already since we've been a family. And I'm going to tell the family, hey, family, I got something wrong. Not by on purpose. I didn't see this. I didn't know this. So anybody out there, the invitation is always open if you are a teacher and if you are a man. If you are a female, I don't engage with females because that's not our culture. Females must interact with females, or you go through your head, go through your husband, or go through your teacher. If you are a female, do not contact me. Do not comment on nothing I share or teach because I'm going to ignore you. Not being mean, I follow my culture. Men, married men, do not exchange, do not go back and forth with women. That's my stance, and that's how I'm going to carry myself. So let's get into this virgin birth, family. And this is not going to take long because I'm not going to take you around the mulberry bush like all these other teachers. Let's go to Matthew chapter 1, verse 18. Matthew chapter 1, verse 18. A lot of brothers, and I did it too in my early days, they take you through the Zondervan Bible Dictionary and they break down the terms, the Hebrew words for virgin. And I was like, all praise be to Abba Yah, Ba'asham Hamashiach. He gave me some more understanding, and the Rawak of the Most High says, son, you don't even have to go through all that. So you don't have to break down what word they use for virgin in the text. You just have to come back to your father and go through the son and ask for understanding and watch what the father is going to do for you. Matthew chapter 1, verse 18. Read.
Now the birth of Yahushua Mashiach was on the wise, when as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph. Before they came together, she was found with child of the Ruach HaKodesh. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privily. But while he thought on these things, behold, Malach Yahweh appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of Dawid, fear not to take unto thee Mary, thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Ruach, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua, Yashayah, Yahusha, for he shall save his people from their sins.
Family, the reason why we don't use that J name anymore, we have a class, if you're new to community, we have a class on our channel. It's called, what is it called? Killing Jesus. And Killing Jesus is a 5-part series where we take our time and go through scriptures and historical research and show you that Jesus is not only a name change. First of all, what Shamaria just did, Shamaria gave y'all the definition of our king's name. Our king's name means that Yah is salvation or Yah is saving. So Yahushua, Yahushua, whatever dialect you choose, you're saying in a roundabout way that the Most High Yah is salvation. But when you use the word Jesus, that has no meaning whatsoever. No meaning whatsoever. So read on out.
Now all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of Yahweh by the prophet, saying, Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which means which being interpreted is Elohim with us. Then Joseph, being raised from sleep, did as the Malach Yahweh had bidden him, and took unto him his wife, and knew her not till she had brought forth her firstborn son, and he called his name Yahushai, Yashia, Yahusha.
You messed something up. It says, and knew her not again until she brought forth her son.
And knew her not till she had brought forth her firstborn son.
Knew her not till?
Knew her not till she had brought forth her firstborn son.
So these brothers go through all these great breakdowns trying to understand what this phrase knew her not. They take you through, see, knowing someone doesn't always mean sex, because right here, let me take you to this passage, and it says the brothers knew not each other. Does that mean they didn't have sex? It's like, it sounds good when you are just searching, but without going through all that, breaking down phrases and Hebraic talk and Hebraic words, let's go back through the birth of our King Hamashiach, Yahushai. Let's show you the Hebrewisms of this virgin birth story. So Matthew 1:18, the birth of Hamashiach was on this wise. So when I was listening to this brother's presentation, this is at work. I got yellow stickies all over the place. The spirit, the Ruach of the Most High Yah, Bahasham Yahushai, by the blood of Hamashiach, just told me to ask questions. And that's how we troubleshoot everything. And I'm like, yeah. So when we get to verse 19, it says, Joseph, her husband, being a just man. Family, what does just mean in the Hebrew? Lawful, righteous. I'm following the laws of the Most High. Joseph being a just man and not willing to make her a public example. I'm not trying to embarrass this young girl. Was minded to put her away in private. Joseph, a just man, I'm lawful, I'm righteous to the best of my ability. Remember, family, in the Hebrew, being just or being righteous don't mean you're perfect. It means when you find that you made a mistake, you sacrifice to Yah and you get back in line. Now, in our age, we don't sacrifice because Yahushai is our sacrifice. But Joseph is a just man, keeping the laws the best he can. So the question that dropped in my mind when I was watching this brother so aggressively, so cockily say that Joseph is the daddy, if Joseph knew that he went into Mary and he actually laid with Mary, say, what? Why are you going to put her away and you're going to do it in private? Does that make sense? Joseph is a just man, and you know you laid with Mary, but now you're going to make Mary seem out to be like she's no discipline, and she done broke her wedlock, and now you're going to put her away in private. Would a just man do that? A just man would say, go to the elders, me and the virgin couldn't hold ourselves, and we done came together before the ceremony. That's what a just man would do. So these brothers go on all these great slides and 50-something slides showing you the word for virgin and showing you what come together means, but it's right there in the text. Joseph is a just man. So you either got to tell me that you don't believe that this text said Joseph was just, or you got to give me some concrete evidence. If Joseph is a just man, he's going to put Mary away, that's not being just. That's the first thing that brought to my attention. Now, the second thing, let's go down to Matthew 1 and verse 23. Can you read that one more time? Matthew 1 and 23.
Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is the Most High with us.
Anybody know what it's alluding to?
Isaiah.
This is Isaiah 7 and 14. So this is Isaiah 7:14 being quoted. So let's go to Isaiah 7, verse 14. Let's go to Isaiah 7:14. I'm going to show you the power of coming back to the Most High Yah with humility and learning our language, our culture. Let's go to Isaiah 7:14, where this verse was prophesied. Shimon?
Is it Septuagint?
I didn't check in the Septuagint because it's really not even necessary, but we can verify it.
I'll just read it real quick. Behold, because of this, Yahweh himself will give you a sign. Look, the virgin will conceive in the womb and will bear a son, and you will call his name Emmanuel.
That's the Septuagint version?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so Shamari, I just read the Septuagint just so we can cross-reference. Now, we're going to read it in the Septuagint, Salakia, in the KJV. Isaiah 7:14.
I just did the reverse.
Oh, you did reverse?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, family. He just read the KJV.
No. I read the Septuagint. I was
okay.
saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I read the Septuagint. Then it says here in the KJV, therefore Yahweh himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. It's pretty much the same thing. So
they're saying the same things. The Septuagint this time is lining up with Salakia. The Masoretic text, the KJV, is lining up with the Septuagint this time. So Matthew was quoting Isaiah 7:14. A virgin is going to bear a child, and a child is going to be called or known as Emmanuel. Emmanuel in the tongue means the Most High is with us. Let's finish this out in Isaiah 7:14. Let's keep going.
15.
Come.
Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings.
So this is a prophecy saying, before this child is weaned, I'm going to destroy the country or the city that's causing y'all problems. That's all it's saying. I'm going to destroy, before this child gets off the mother's paps, I'm going to destroy the cities that's bringing y'all problems, right? Read on.
17. Yahweh shall bring upon thee and upon thy people and upon thy father's house days that have not come from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria.
Okay, so this child is being promised. This child is promised, and the text is saying this child is going to be born of a virgin, and this child is going to be known as the Most High is with us, right? Let's go over to Isaiah 8, and let's watch the fulfillment of this prophecy.
Can you explain what is 17 saying?
17, and the Most High shall bring upon thee and upon the people and upon thy father's house days that have not come, from the day that Ephraim departed from Judah, even the king of Assyria. So this is saying, I'm going to do a work that has not happened in your nation. Y'all going to be greater than the times before the 12 tribes split up. So this is a future prophecy, and this is something that has not happened yet, because we haven't seen days greater than our fathers before the 12 tribes split up. Does that make sense? We have not seen this time yet. So everything, again, not throwing rocks at the Christians, how can you call this old, or how can you say Christ fulfilled all this when we have things that's not happened yet? That cemetery doctrine, that cemetery curriculum have you calling the Most High a liar. That's why your doctrine is so dangerous. You're calling the Father a liar. So that's what I'm seeing here, family. We got days coming to us as a nation that our fathers have not seen yet. We're going to be greater than them, right? So let's go over to Isaiah 8 and watch the fulfillment of this version, this child coming through this version, right? Let's go to Isaiah 8, verse 3 through 10. Isaiah 8, verses 3 through 10. Read.
And I went unto the prophetess.
I went in.
And I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived.
So Isaiah is saying, I slept with my wife, and she conceived. That's what he's saying. I went unto the prophetess. The prophetess is his wife. Isaiah just says, I went in unto my wife, and she conceived. Read on.
And bare a son.
Uh-huh.
There then said Yahweh to me, call his name
Mahashalabaz.
Mahashalabaz.
Mm-hmm.
For before the child shall have knowledge to cry, my father and my mother, the riches of Damascus, and the spoil of Samaria shall be taken away before the king of Assyria.
Yah is reminding them of the prophecy. Before this child can speak, mama and daddy, I'm going to tear down Damascus. Damascus is the capital of what?
Syria.
Syria. So Syria got Brody, and Syria wanted to join with Ephraim to come get Judah. And the Most High told Judah, don't even worry about it. I'm going to take your brother down. I'm going to scatter Ephraim. Ephraim is not going to be a people. And Syria, just because you wanted to come up against my people, I'm taking you down too. Because if you go back to 1 Kings, Syria is being run by Edomite kings. So this is what's going on here, family. The father's telling Isaiah, before this new baby can say, mommy and daddy, I'm going to destroy Syria for y'all. Read on.
Yahweh spake also unto me again, saying, for as much as this people refuseth the waters of Shiloh, that go softly and rejoice in Rezin and Ramallah's son, now therefore behold, Yahweh bringeth up upon them the waters of the river, strong and many, the king of Assyria, and all his glory, and he shall come up over all his channels, and go over all his banks, and he shall pass through Judah, he shall overflow and go over, he shall reach even to the neck, and the stretching out of his wings shall fill the breadth of thy land. O Emmanuel.
Oh, who?
O Emmanuel.
Oh, who?
O Emmanuel.
Read on.
Associate yourselves, O ye people, and ye shall be broken in pieces, and give ear, all ye of far countries. Gird yourselves, and ye shall be broken in pieces. Gird yourselves, and ye shall be broken in pieces. Take counsel together, and it shall come to naught. Speak the word, and it shall not stand. For Elohim is with us.
Elohim is with who?
With us.
This is all Hebrewisms that these brothers miss when they teach the virgin birth doctrine. They focus on definitions of words and trying to determine what's the true Hebrew word for virgin, and they miss the Hebrewisms of this prophecy. So Emmanuel, the Most High is with us. That's what he said the child is going to be known as. But notice the child was named what?
The Savior. Yahweh Savior.
What? No, not the Messiah. What was Isaiah's babies called?
Oh, Mashallah Hashbaz.
So Isaiah's baby wasn't called Emmanuel, but it was because during this birth of this child is going to be a sign that Yah is with us. The child name was Mahashalabaz, but because the Most High promised during this child's weaning, I'm going to deliver you, this child is going to be a reminder that I'm with you. Emmanuel is a Persian god. Aman is a Persian god. Anybody remember? Y'all may be a little bit younger. Y'all remember the supermodel Imani?
Yes, sir.
Imani is a Persian god. So this text is using a Persian word for for God. So Emmanuel is God is with us, but we know as Hebrews, we would say Yahweh is with us. But that wasn't the baby's name. It was going to be a reminder that Yah delivered us from Syria during this child's weaning. So the prophecy about a virgin birth, they're off a little bit. I'm going to be fair to them because I know they don't have the Rawak, so they can only be what they are. So I'm not coming down on them. They don't have understanding because the Spirit's not with them. So they harp on the fact that this baby that the prophetess had, was the prophetess Isaiah's wife a virgin here?
They doesn't say that.
Was she a pure, untouched woman?
No.
Verify. How can you verify this? Because this is what they're going to do.
Going back to Isaiah 8. Isaiah 8:3, and I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived and bore a son.
Come. So if y'all can hear him, Isaiah's wife was touched by Isaiah. So they're going to say, see, when you go to Matthew is not talking about the Immaculate Conception because it's quoting Isaiah. And we see right here in Isaiah 8:3, Isaiah goes in unto his wife. And see, she's not a virgin, meaning she hasn't been touched. So the Messiah came through Joseph touching Mary. And to the unlearned who's starstruck and just hanging on his elder's word, it sounds good. Then they take you over for another witness. Remember the plumb line, right? They're going to give you another witness. Let's go to Isaiah 7. Let's go to Isaiah 7. And can you pick it up at verse 3? Isaiah 7:3.
Then said Yahweh unto Isaiah, go forth now to meet Ahaz, thou and Sherayashahab, thy son.
Thy who?
Thy son.
See, Isaiah already had a son. So virgin don't mean an untouched woman. Virgin means she's just of marriageable age. And I just gave you two witnesses. Isaiah went in unto his wife, and now we see Isaiah got another son. You see, this Immaculate Conception, it came from the Romans. That's
and I get what you're doing. I'm just commenting. That don't got nothing to do with what it said there in the text. Let me read it again. It said, and I went unto her. Yeah, it don't say that I went unto her and she was a virgin and then she conceived. It don't even say that. You see what I'm saying?
That's how they're mixing people's minds up. They say things so arrogantly and so confidently, and then they say it with authority. So it gotta be right. And I told you at 7-Day Harvest, I used to work for a call center. And I remember the trainer says, listen, if you get stuck, just tell the customer anything. They don't know. Just say it with confidence and they'll believe you. And I'm like, I'm not lying to the customer. But that's what's going on in these Israelite communities, camps and non-camps. You got people getting up there saying things. We know we got to follow the law, but it's all about the spirit. We got to get back to the spirit. It's like, wait a minute, you don't understand what the spirit is. And I have to try to be humble and loving and try to teach behind these people or clean up the mess these people are making. So just because someone saying things with authority and all cocky don't mean it's right. The virgin birth doctrine is not based on, or Isaiah's example is not based on Mary's virginity. Let me show you what I'm talking about, family. Let me make some sense of this. So Isaiah's wife wasn't an untouched woman. Isaiah's wife, the prophetess, was not untouched because she had another son. So that's what they're going to say. See, these people think virgin means untouched. We do have words that means untouched. Mary was untouched. How do we know Mary was untouched? Well, we just broke it down that how can Joseph be just knowing that he touched her and now he's going to put her away? So we got you on that level. Mary wasn't touched by Joseph because if Joseph touched her and wants to put her away, the text can't call him just. And all these brothers with their breakdown, they read it says Joseph was just. And they think he's just by putting her away privately. That's their misconstrued concept. You can't call him just and he's putting her away privately instead of confessing his sin to the elders. So Joseph being just proves he didn't touch Mary. He's confused and saying, you know what? I know I didn't touch you, Mary, and I could have you killed, but because I'm righteous and full of mercy, that's the part about the law these brothers forget. Being lawful is not all about being stern. It's also about having mercy and compassion. Remember when you was a drug addict? Remember when you was addicted to porn? So don't get all now you want to straighten now for a year and now you want to run down on everybody and be the Israelite cop. Have compassion and mercy because that's what the Father has on us. You all cocky and arrogant with the law. You don't eat no pork, but you got 10 wives. Figure that out. So the part about the virgin birth, family, let's break this down and move on. The part about the virgin birth, the reason why Matthew quoted Isaiah, not because Mary wasn't an untouched woman, because that's what they're trying to marry. They're trying to marry. See, Isaiah's wife was not a pure virgin, and Mary's not a pure virgin. That's why he quoted Isaiah. That's not why he quoted Isaiah. The part about the virgin birth that they missed, the part that our Messiah, it wasn't even about Mary being untouched. Because let me bring this out while we're here. If you're in your father's house as an Israelite woman, what are you supposed to be? If you're an unmarried woman in your father's house, what are you supposed to be in our community? A virgin. So that's like a no, that's these brothers, it blows my mind because some of these brothers say they know the language. You know the language and you speaking all this, you fluent, but you don't know the culture. How's that work? How you spend all this time learning and you can say all the prayers, but you don't know the culture? If you're an unmarried woman, you're staying in your father's house. You're not going to live with no man like we doing in America. How many of y'all shacked up for years, living with women? That don't happen in our culture. The elders would go and stone both of y'all. So the fact that Mary didn't have a husband, it's already a given to our community that you better be a virgin. If not, I can get you killed. So they missed that. So the fact that Mary is not in Joseph's house yet, she's in her father's house, or she's being taken care of by an elder or somebody, she's a virgin. The fact that Joseph says, Mary, I don't know what you done did, girl, but I'm gonna have compassion on you. I'm not gonna tell on you. I'm gonna take you somewhere privately and let you have this bastard child on your own. And that's when the angel had to come to him and see his heart. Like, wow, he's really a noble, just man. Let me tell him what's going on. You see how that makes sense? So, well, why did Matthew quote Isaiah 7:14 if Isaiah's wife wasn't a virgin? Here's the part of the virgin birth. This is why Matthew quoted Isaiah. Let's go back to Isaiah 7:14. Let's go back to Isaiah 7:14. Let's show you why he quoted Isaiah. Not that Isaiah's wife was a pure, untouched virgin. That's not why he was quoting this. The part they missed, and I give all honor and glory to my father, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, because I didn't come up with this. I'm not a scholar. This is what the Most High revealed. Let's go back to Isaiah 7, and let's pick it up at verse 15. Let's pick it up at verse 15.
Butter and honey shall he eat.
I'm sorry, the end of 14.
Behold a virgin.
Come.
Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good.
The virgin birth, the reason why Matthew quoted Isaiah here, not that Mary wasn't an untouched virgin like Isaiah's wife. Yes, Isaiah's wife was not an untouched virgin. Yes, she had other children. They try to marry that, build a straw man and say, see, just like Isaiah's wife wasn't a virgin, Mary's not a virgin. Joseph went unto her. That's not why Matthew quoted this passage. The reason why Matthew pulled this quote is because just like Isaiah's second son, is his reputation, his mark for the nation is what? Emmanuel. God is with us. That's the virgin birth parallel that Matthew pulled this from. Not that Isaiah's wife is a virgin, the fact that this child is going to be a reminder that God is with us still. That's why he went into Matthew and says, and this child did come from a true virgin, and he's going to be known as Yahweh Shai, and he's going to be his reputation. Because, family, y'all help me out, y'all Bereans. Have y'all ever read a text where they call Yahweh Shai Emmanuel? Well, why did he say he's going to call me known as Emmanuel? You see how they missed that? No one ever called Yahweh Shai Emmanuel.
So
it's his reputation.
What is saying here, and I just, I trying to be disciplined and let you get your point out. But what I saw when you first got here is what I was gonna. You missing the whole point of it's a sign. Just if you want to just make it just not
Same,
even,
it's a sign.
not make it. I can explain it further, but if you just the basic part, the whole point of her being a virgin and having a son is just to show you a sign that the Most High is with you, Emmanuel. What it's saying is, and that's what the thing that came to my mind. I was like, our people so dang on messed up that. You see the virgin birth and say, now the Romans did it. We wicked, it's the devil. When the Most High did it to show you a sign, a miracle, something that is being like unknown to our realm, that he is with us. And then when you went right to Isaiah, the first thing he says is, Yahweh shall give you a sign. It's telling you what the reason for this whole thing was.
Matthew or Isaiah, what Shemaiah is saying, let me play the Israelite whisperer. What Isaiah is saying, we don't even have to focus on sex. But what I'm telling you, if these brothers understood the culture, we know Mary is a virgin. We know she's a virgin because she's not married. She has to be in her father's house, or maybe if her father died, she's in an uncle's house. So culturally, just like Esther was being raised by her uncle Mordecai. She was a chaste woman. That's why she was chosen to marry that Persian king. So these brothers don't know the culture, but like Shemaiah is saying, stop focusing on her chastity. It's not about her chastity. This son, this baby is going to be a sign for the nation that I'm still with you. That's what the whole story, that's why he pulled Isaiah. But these brothers use it as a straw man. See, Isaiah's wife wasn't a virgin, and now Mary's not a virgin, and you're off. They're off. Their virgin birth doctrine is off, is of Satan. They don't have 2 or 3 witnesses to show you that Joseph went into her. They can't give you 2 or 3 witnesses nowhere that says Joseph went into Mary and she conceived. Because it just came to me, hold your thought, Yashiyah, it just came to me. Y'all want to pull Isaiah and say, see, Isaiah, it says Isaiah. Let's read it again. Let's go back to Isaiah 7 or 8 and 3.
Real quick, Abenam said, this is Abenam. He says, weren't they in the same household because they was betrothed and espoused, talking about Joseph and Mary?
Not culturally. Not culturally. When you're engaged or when you're betrothed to someone in our culture, you don't go into his house until after the ceremony. So yeah, that's why he goes get the house ready for you. Go ahead.
That's it. He goes and you're betrothed for. It says you come to the house, you knock on the door, you family sit down, they have a drink, you do the contract, come up with the terms, all those things. Then you go back and get the things for the dowry and prepare a place for her. That's like Christ is going to prepare a place for us. And then when they get married, they consummate the marriage in the house through the sexual contact. Right. And now she's living with him. You don't live culturally together. It's no shacking up. It's no shacking up.
Because what would be the point of our custom of the father waiting at the door or coming to the door asking for the bed sheets? Because he knew he kept his daughter chaste, and of course a father knows his daughter.
Is she gonna have blood on the sheets?
Hand me the sheets, and I got proof that my daughter's hymen was broken. My daughter was a chaste virgin. She did not embarrass Israel. What would be the point of going through all that if we were shacking up before the ceremony?
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question, Benham.
All right, and you want me to read Isaiah?
Let's read Isaiah 8 and 3 again.
Isaiah 8 and verse 3, and I went unto the prophetess, and she conceived and bare a son.
So right there in black and white, the text says, and I went unto the prophetess. So these brothers who pushing Joseph is the daddy, find me the same language for Mary and Joseph, saying Joseph went in unto Mary. You can't do it. You're exegeting it, you're adding it, you're interpolating it into the text. You can't find no black and white sentence that Joseph went in unto Mary, but you want to use Isaiah 7:14 to discredit Mary. But Isaiah 8:3 says the prophet Isaiah went in unto his wife. You can't find the same language for Joseph and Mary.
It always says before they came
together.
Now, I just want to ask this. Where did that why did they go so hard for that? And where did that even, do you think it's just that some original teacher that they was following came up with this and then pushed it that? Because, like, what would be the purpose of them going against it, if that makes sense?
This one teacher, he tries to put a whole straw man talking about the Immaculate Conception is a Roman Catholicism idolatry, and that's a straw man, because once I attach something negative to a root and you still hold on to the root, I'm shaming you because you're following something negative. That's a straw man. Roman Catholicism, nobody of the West started anything. The people of the West, Rome and Greece, they came and emulated us in the East, the Israelites, the Persians, the Egyptians. So he put a whole straw man. That whole Immaculate Conception came from the Romans. No, it didn't. But I don't know if you remember a couple of months ago, we brought out that Christian religion. They was arguing about the virgin birth way back in the 1st century. It was the Pharisees, the rabbis, the Talmudists who didn't receive him starting that stuff up. Okay. Saying he's the son of a whore, or Mary was this and Mary was. So it started within the Israelite community. So by the time Christianity developed and spread in West, you have two or three different schools of thought. Well, Joseph really was a father, but it still was holy because it was of the father. Oh, Joseph not the father. So the controversy started with us, unrighteous Israelites who just rejected Messiah, saying that wasn't the sign and he's not the one. But again, we just went through text and we went through deductive reasoning, showing you within the text, Joseph can't be the father. Then we showing you how we're using their own device against them. They run to Isaiah 7:14, showing that Isaiah's wife wasn't a virgin, but it also says Isaiah went into his wife. And you can't show me where Joseph goes into Mary. You see how you gotta be Bereans and take a step back from all their screaming, all their arroganceness. And then they have a little, it's common sense. Anybody can see it. No, don't condescend like that. Don't do that. Bring your witnesses. Joseph is not the father of Hamashiach. Joseph knew not Mary. The virgin birth doctrine these brothers are pushing is man-made. They can't use the plumb line and produce witnesses to say Joseph went into Mary. And that's all I got for you, family. This is the preview of Just Give Me Book TV.
For a while, Shalakia.
One second, Gerald. Benham says, how is Hamashiach the son of David if there is no biological connection?
It's just like he's the son of Adam, and Adam didn't come from sperm. It's the same way. And these brothers can see that. Yes, we know God can do anything he wants, but he did bring Hamashiach through the seed of David without Joseph touching Mary. So just like he brought Adam through the dirt and he put seed inside Adam to make us, he brought Hamashiach through the seed of David without Joseph touching her. Great question, Benham.
And like to add to that, like going back to Matthew 1 and Joseph's genealogy, at Matthew 1 at verse 11, and Josiah begat Jeconiah and his brethren, and about the time they were carried away to Babylon. So, Jeconiah being king of Judah, and, prophecies say that the Messiah is going to be sitting on the throne of David, who's, and he'll be ruling as king. But if you go back into Jeremiah chapter 22, and I'm going to start at verse 28, Jeconiah was dishonored like a vessel that there is no need of it, that was cast out and thrown into a land that he had not known, the land land, O land, hear the word of Yahweh. Regard this man a castaway, as a castaway, because he shall not be raised up from his seed to sit upon the throne of David as a ruler again in Judah. So we're holding that, you know what I'm saying, that the Messiah is supposed to sit on the throne of David. If Joseph was the daddy, then this would and Messiah Hamashiach Yahushua is the seed of Joseph, then this wouldn't apply to him because he's of the descendancy of Jeconiah. You know what I'm saying? So he has to be of a virgin birth. I don't know if that makes sense.
It's convoluted because it's a lot going on, and we got people with different understandings at different levels. What to clean it up and keep it simple, Jeconiah or Jeconiah, as his punishment for being a wicked king, the Most High says, none of your sons, not the line of David. He's saying, because the line of David, remember, David has many sons and many generations. But the curse that the Most High put on just Jeconiah, saying, none of your sons from your loins, not all King David's loins, none of your sons, Jeconiah, are going to sit on a throne with success. That was just on Jeconiah. So what Yashiyah is trying to say, if Yahushua came through and sat on his throne now, that prophecy against Jeconiah would be contradicting Yah.
Yeah, I totally get it. And that's why for me, please help correct me if I'm wrong, but I see it the same way that he tells the brother to go into the brother's wife if the brother died, and that son would be named heir from that line of the brother that died, even though technically it didn't come through his seed. So that's how I see it, is that same type of authority that the Most High uses playing out. Because that I never really knew that what you just brought out, yeah. But then that just even confirms that to me even more. The Most High had through Mary and had Yahushua, but he still comes through the line of David according to the order that the Most High has made. And like he said, that when you get to this level, it's deeper than just like the reading the text and being able to point stuff out with the text. But I just want to say that because I didn't even have ever heard what you were just bringing out. So
because if you watch the different presentations, they go on that level and they bring out the fact that Yahushua can't be a king because he's coming through Jeconiah, and they take you back to the prophecy, and that part that you brought up about Jeconiah, that's more clearly in the Septuagint. When you read it from the Septuagint, that curse is clearly for Jeconiah, from your loins. Your sons, even though y'all King David, the sons from your loins are not going to be successful. That don't mean the rest of David's sons. So that's on a higher level of study. But we don't have to go through the Torah laws about raising seed to your brother. We can squash all that out, because what did Hamashiach tell the Pharisees? Before Abraham, I am. So that squashed all your little Torah laws. Before Abraham was, I am. So how you say he coming from David or he can't be a king? Because squash, you're trying too hard, you're trying to get too deep.
If I can just add on to what you're saying, because I was literally just going to say exactly what you're saying as far as going so deep, even when it came to the question that Abenawam had just asked. And I started thinking about.
You get to like
the
why?
Say it again.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the question as far as how is he a son of David if he didn't come from that line, and what you said about Adam. And when I started thinking about it, it said it right in Matthew chapter 1, and it says that let me read it because I don't want to.
What are you going?
Matthew chapter 1, verse 18, and then it led me to Psalms chapter 2. But I'm gonna read this first. It says, "Now the birth of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach was on this wise, when as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Ruach HaKodesh." So I started thinking about it, like, what did all these bloodlines have in common, the ones that Yahweh chose? It's the Ruach. So when I went to Psalms chapter 2, I read verses 6 and 7. Well, actually, I'll read 5 through 7. Well, I'll just read from 1 through 7. It says, "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahweh and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. Yahweh shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure." Verse 6 and 7 is what I wanted to get to. It says, "Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. Yahweh has said unto me, you are my son. This day have I begotten thee." Begotten me of what? The Ruach. So it just ties in. That's just what I was thinking. I don't know if y'all had any more to add on to that, but the answer that came to my mind that Abinawam had asked, the way he was conceived of and called a son of David, is because David was after Yahweh's own heart. The Ruach was on top of all the other things that tie into it. So, but that was just something else that I saw. I don't know if I'm in the right ballpark or not, but I wanted to ask just to see.
No, it's another witness, because it's another witness, the fact that the Most High is saying, I begotten thee. The Most High is not saying that I'm going to bring seed, like when he told Abraham, I'm going to multiply your seed. He's not using seed here. He's saying, I begotten thee. And these brothers are so carnal or so scared to go against their elders or so starstruck, where I'm not getting involved with none of that. The Most High over and over says, I have begotten thee. This is my beloved son whom I've begotten. Receive him, believe him. So that's the language we find over and over. The Most High is saying, I've begotten you. And the fact that he says, before Abraham was, I am, you got to explain that to me. You got to, don't give me all this how the Immaculate Conception comes from Rome and you're following idolatry. Don't build that straw man. That's childish, that's immature, that's irresponsible for any teacher to build a straw man and says that virgin births come from Rome. Because you know how we feel about Rome. So if I say it comes from Rome, I can discredit this whole story. Listen, I'm not the one. Don't play games with me. Don't play games with my king. Don't play games with my nation. It's wartime, whether you're an Israelite or not. I am standing up for my nation. Just give me book TV. We're coming showing you how to be a student. We're not telling you what to think. We're not telling you what to believe. We're producing witnesses, and we're encouraging you. If we got it wrong, let us know. But compare how we present to how these other people present. Whether you be all spiritual or bless Yahuwah, whether you be, it don't matter. Line your sermons up with this text. Produce your witnesses. People got to understand, learn the culture, learn the language, and seek the Father in spirit and truth. Too many people are coming seeking YouTube likes and trying to expand their little platform. This ain't the time for that. This ain't the time for that. So the last precept, the spirit just, I'm tired, I'm ready to eat, but this is the Most High's word. The last thing that I got as part of my notes, like I said, I may do a full virgin birth class one day, but it's not relevant to our redemption. Whether Joseph impregnated her or not, he's still the King of glory. It's by his blood we still have been redeemed, so it don't matter to me. But for the sake of scholarship, your virgin birth doctrine that Joseph is the daddy is false doctrine. So let's go to Hebrews Let's go to Hebrews. And after this, we can pray and fellowship and keep the Zoom going. But let's go to Hebrews. And this really did it for me. And maybe I think differently, so that's why I need you guys here. Let's go to Hebrews 2. And when I've read this, I'm like, man, this is a done deal. This is Hebrews chapter 2. And Shamaria, can you pick it up at no, we don't even need all that. It's so good though. Yeah, this whole chapter is a go-to chapter. Let's pick it up for the sake of time. Let's pick it up at verse 11. Hebrews chapter 2, we're going to start at verse 11. I want y'all to notice, even though this is translation, I want y'all to notice how it's phrased. Hebrews 2:11. Read.
For both he that sanctifieth and they who are sanctified are all of one. For which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren.
This is not a church. He says, the one who's doing the sanctifying and them who are sanctified, they're one. And he's not ashamed to call us brethren. This is physical brethren. When I was sloppy drunk, throwing up on myself, he wasn't ashamed to call me his brother. This is not no spiritual, come up to the altar and let's turn around and this is brother. No, these are physical brothers. Hamashiach is not ashamed to call us his brother. Read on.
Saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the congregation will I sing praise unto thee.
You know what? I just got to do it. Again, Christianity says we got to lift up Jesus. We got to lift up Jesus. They miss it because they don't understand the Hebrew. Read that again out, Hebrews 2, verse 12.
Saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren.
I will declare your name to my brethren. Which name will he declare unto his brethren? The name of Yahweh. The Hamashiach, he tells you time and time again, I'm talking to the Christians. I'm talking to the Christians with love. To the doctor seminary. You're puffed up with all your education, with all your fancy little Greek words. Hamashiach didn't come to be lifted up. He did not come to be worshiped. When he speaks, when he says, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men to me. Who is he speaking of? The Father. How do we know this, Dr. Seminary? Because he says, my doctrine is not my own. It's of my Father. So Christianity coming from the Romans saying, we got to lift Jesus up. We got to lift Jesus up. But the Son didn't come to be lifted up. The Son came to bring the children back to the Father.
And it tells you that. And what Isaiah just said, Emmanuel, he came to say, hey, the Most High is with us again. The Most High is with us. Now, through me, I'm going to get y'all back in the right standing with him. That's why it says for both he that made righteous is what sanctified means. So that's like we were unlawful, dirty, sinful, turned against the Most High, but he came to die to make us righteous. So it says for both he that made righteous and they who are made righteous are both one. Because we come from the same family in the earth. We are Ox and Akyam and Akwath. We are brothers and sisters. And that's why it says he's not ashamed to call us brethren.
Now, we all have, all our fathers still alive, mine fell asleep.
Mine is alive.
You ever called your father brother?
No.
You ever came in the house and said, yo, bro?
No.
My dad, what? Yo, bro. So how is Jesus God? And he says, I'm not ashamed to call them brethren. I don't call the Most High bro when I talk to him. I say, hey, the great I am. Hey, big guy, I need you. But Yahweh Shai, I say, thank you, brother. Thank you, king. I'm not ashamed to say that my brother is my king. But the Father is not my brother.
And then
because Gerald knows, my thing is making sure the text corroborate itself. So
line up.
Right. So when it says he's the first begotten of all creation, then that will also add supporting evidence to why he would say brethren, because the Father made him and the Father made you, and the Father made him in his image, and the Father made you in their image.
We're destroying the Trinity. We're destroying the Trinity doctrine all day long without even trying. You see how when we come back to our heritage, this is not us being super smart. We didn't go to cemetery school. We come back to the Father, repent of our sins. We learn our language, and all these precepts corroborate. This is the plumb line. Shamaria didn't pull this out of thin air. It's the plumb line. Our whole text from cover to cover is a big Hebrewism. If you don't understand the culture, you're going to be lost in Christianity. Chef.
And so you keep referencing Emmanuel with us. You really see how Shamar was breaking down. Like, he's bringing us back to him. He's now on our side. We back on his side. So we were in Isaiah 8.
Come.
And verse 9, verse 9 and 10. Associate yourselves, O ye people, and ye shall be broken in pieces. You associated with them, you got broken in pieces.
Come.
And give ear, all ye of far countries, gird yourself, and you shall be broken into pieces. He reiterated.
Come.
Be on their side.
Line up with them if you want to. Come.
I done came back to get y'all now.
See the Hebrewism, what Chef just did? That's a Hebrewism. He's talking to these nations. All your nations who lined up against Judah, associate yourselves with them, and when I send my wrath, I'm going to break y'all in pieces. But to us Israelites, you associate yourself with Roman Catholicism if you want. You associate yourself with the Christmas tree if you want. You associate yourself with that Easter bunny if you want. When my son come back, like y'all broke his body into pieces, y'all going to be broken into pieces. Y'all see the Hebrewism here, family? You only get this when you come back to the culture. That's why these brothers get puffed up. You're moving too fast. You just came out of Christianity and now you want to teach Hebrew. No, don't work like that. That's why y'all breakdowns are off. Not being mean, not being puffed up. It's the facts of the case. You got something else, Chef?
I was just going to finish out 10.
Go ahead.
It's same thing. Take counsel together, and it shall come to not speak the word, and it shall not stand. For the Most High is with us.
Yeah, that's because, okay, yeah. Because I was reading the Septuagint, and I was
Yahweh Shai is Yah.
He just keep telling you, he says it like two times here. So yeah.
That's the sign of the birth of Hamashiach. It wasn't even, I imagine the Father, well, he sent Yahweh Shai to be a stumbling block, but I imagine he didn't even think it was going to be a hiccup about how he got here. But Mary was not touched by Joseph. Let's go back to Hebrews to finish it up and show you how we know this is another proof text. If you want to use that terminology, I don't get involved with these people. Hebrews 2. So he's not ashamed to call his brother, right? Let's continue with verse 13. Hebrews 2 and 13.
And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I and the children which the Most High have given me.
Wait a minute. If the Most High gave the children to Hamashiach, how's Hamashiach God? How's Jesus God? He had to be given the children. The Most High don't have nobody giving him anything. Everything belongs to him. You see your cemetery doctrine looks foolish. But I hear these brothers talking and they swear they killing it. You see, Jesus is God because he came in the flesh and the word became flesh. I done heard it all for all y'all. All y'all saying the same thing. The man is telling you the children you gave me. If God gave him the children, he is on a different level. Let's finish this out. Let's get what we came for.
For as much then as the children are partakers of the flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same. That through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is Hasatan.
So let's break this down, family. Hebrews 2 and 14. For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, meaning we come from flesh and blood. We came from our parents coming together, and we are our flesh and blood, right? So as much as me and you come from flesh and blood, likewise, he took part of the same. He took part of the same. Did y'all have a choice to take part, whether you got here or not? You see the language here? Me and you had no choice. Our fathers, our mothers got together and we're here. But Hamashiach, he decided to take part of the same. Y'all see that?
Mhm.
Let's finish this up.
And deliver them through the fear of death, were all their lifetime subject to bondage. For verily he took not on him the nature of the Malachim, but he took on him the seed of Abraham.
Case closed. Did you have a chance to take on the seed you was going to be, Chef?
No, sir.
Hamashiach decided to be obedient. He told the Father, I will take on the seed of man. I will take a demotion because I am a spiritual being. I'm a Malachim. I still have my glory that Adam lost. But because I see you love that creation of yours, I don't mind, Father. I'll take a demotion, not from being with you. I'll take a demotion from being your number one servant in the spirit realm, and I take on the seed of Abraham to go get your beloved creation. There is no Trinity. Hamashiach is not the Most High Yah. Yasha, you have something? I'm done, family.
Just a short comment. Like Emmanuel, Elohim is with us, Yah is with us, is a sign that the covenant is still intact.
That's all it is. Reminding us that I haven't forgotten about you. But because of your disobedience, now you got to go through something. But Hamashiach did not come through Joseph's loins at all. Their virgin birth doctrine is garbage. Their Esau is the white man doctrine is garbage. Their, what else we say about the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of is garbage. Just give me book TV is coming soon.
I just want to give a comment and say that, you know, we know the Trinity is incorrect, but the reason why it says, or the reason why he says, like, or the fact that Yahushua is not the most high God, but Yahushua is God. Like it says in the beginning was the word was God, and the word was with God, or the word was with God, and the word was God. But English just messes it all up. Wow. Because Elohim, or there's, well, Elohim, it tells you, like blue letter, Elohim is like a judge or a ruler. Mm-hmm. And that's the same reason why he said, ye are gods, because he appointed us here judges and rulers over matters. You got some judges and rulers over large matters, some judges and rulers over small things, some just judges and rulers over their own house. But, and that's the same thing that goes back to when we had the time of the judges, and it said that Ruth said, your Elohims are my Elohim. She was just saying, now the people who judge in the land of Judah is going to be my judges, my elders.
Break it down. I'm about to sit down.
You know, so that's, so he is Elohim. He is not the highest. He is not the most high Elohim. Because then, and just not to go in, but you had to ask questions like, who did he pray to and stuff like that. But I just wanted to clarify, because that is a good question. Yeah. It's a question I could see if somebody is new, then why did he say you are gods and things like that? And it just means rulers, judges, Elohim, a judge, or it could mean also an elder, in because we are tribal people. So that's the sense that it meant. So it wasn't like Ruth was a pagan and worshiping other gods, other deities. No. She just had her elders from her tribe, and Boaz had
he's from Judah. Boaz from Judah. Ruth was from Manasseh or Gad. I can't remember offhand. Ruth is an Israelite from the northern kingdom. Was it because it might have been Reuben? It's one of those three tribes that got their inheritance first, and that's where she grew up at. So Ruth is not a pagan. Ruth is not a Gentile. Ruth comes from the northern kingdom. And what Shemaiah is saying, when she told them back in Ruth that she told her mother-in-law, your gods are going to be my gods, they said, oh, see, she was a pagan. No, the word for God in Hebrew is Elohim, your judges. Your judges, your rulers are going to be my rulers. You and I are Elohim. That's why you got to learn, you have to learn the culture. If you keep trying to worship a Hebraic God through a Greco-Roman education, you're going to be off.